Live on YouTube.
It says it on your side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It says setting up a meeting for YouTube Live. Okay, we are here. Okay, but why can't I hear? Okay, I think I'm gonna have to mute this side. Boom. Yeah, I had to mute that part. All right. Let me make this part smaller. Peace and light, family. I hope that y'all can see this and this is accessible to everyone. This is my first time going live on YouTube.
Yay!
And I'm doing it via Zoom. I've been telling y'all for a minute that I was gonna go live and do a Zoom meeting live because I want to be able to bring in people and close friends and stuff like that so y'all can meet them. Today, I'm super duper excited because we have my big sister queen who I'll always talk about. I'll always tell y'all, bring her up. I was talking to my big sister queen. Imani Latifah. And I finally get to introduce y'all to my big sister queen. She's a creator. She is a magnificent woman, a magnificent manifester. She has been such a light in my life. She is my big sister queen who I could pick up the phone and call for advice, which we all need that. The head for me of just, that person that I can go to and trust with my deepest spiritual questions and connections and emotions. And I know that I'm gonna get some solid sound advice from a space of love and honesty. So my big sister queen, Imani Latifah.
Yay! Peace, love, light. Assalamu alaikum. Shalom. Alafia. What else we got? What up, though? And one. All right.
All right now. So Imani she is the founder of Sapia Kaleidoscope. I don't know if y'all remember, but I did open what you call it, unboxing video for Sapia Kaleidoscope when she sent me a bunch of jewelry and posters and candles and all kind of stuff. Me and Imani have been friends for maybe 11 or 12 years now.
A long time. Yeah. Oh goodness, it's been a minute. I knew you since you was a youngin. You was a youngin coming up the world. When you were coming into this, like, you was already a dynamic sister, but you was coming into this fierce goddess, like this fierce all-knowing. And then after that, y'all, I went to Australia. She let me go to Australia. And we'll get into that later. And then she up and went to Africa for 4 months. I don't know if she told y'all that, but she went to Africa for 4 months, lived there in Ghana. So the sister knows about African continental history. She knows because she was there. She was living there. So
I was there.
She knows what she's talking about.
Some of my deepest, most fondest memories of our friendship and our sisterhood derive at Baba's house, right? Yeah. When we would go to Baba Badru's house, and we would have fufu and goosey, and we would sit and we would talk and have, let me turn my ear off so it's not that loud, but we would sit and we would talk and we would have some of the most amazing conversations about spirituality and, just about understanding thyself, knowing thyself, understanding our ancestors, our connection with ancestors, spirit guides, and all things spirituality. I remember going to Baba's house and he would open up that closet and he had that closet and we would pray at the altar, sit down, have fufu and stew, and just talk. And Cassandra would come. We were there sometimes, and it was just some of our best moments. And really like a deep understanding of a lot of my spiritual journey came from a lot of those conversations. And you have been on your spiritual path since I've known you, way before you've ever known me. So what started your spiritual journey?
It started back in West Philadelphia. What's so funny is, like, growing up in Philly, in West Philly, you're always used to seeing the Muslims on the corner. You're used to seeing, back then, like the 5%ers. You're used to seeing the Orisha folk wearing all white, and you don't know why. You're used to seeing, like, the Hebrew Israelites trying to get you to conform with their Grandmaster Flash of Melly 5. Their look and how they look, because they're very creative and then you see the fruit of Islam, and then you have all these combinations of people, and it's like a melting pot of spiritualness, a melting pot where you could learn and take each and every bit of information. So, you know, I had always kind of had this experience where I was always conscious all the way, like, you know, I went through my 5%er stage. I went through a little bit of my Ansar Allah stage. I went through a little bit of like my Islamic stage and like all these things. And then finally, poof, I ran into Lukumi Santeria and, you know, Ifa tradition. And I've been stuck ever since because, you know, one thing I learned, and I think it was like an ancestral thing, and that wasn't even something I learned. It was something I learned coming from the north to the south and coming to Savannah. And Savannah is like a spiritual vortex of ancestralship. And you think the north is all powerful and all knowing, and it is, but it's some kindred, something sacred about being in Savannah, being in under, you know, those trees. There's something sacred about being in the streets of New Orleans. There's something sacred about Mississippi, something sacred about, you know, those backwoods of Jacksonville, Florida. And I've always been fascinated and had, you know, such respect for our ancestors, and it kind of just drew me in. And so I remember like in 2006, like Orisha was calling me then, and I just had no idea. It was like fascinating because it was still so secretive. Now everybody's a child of Oshun, and okay, everybody's a child of Shango. But to me, it was fascinating. And I was trying to understand the connections that our ancestors had, and why in Cuba they hid their saints behind, you know, why they hid the Orisha behind Catholic saints, and the sacred of the Shango Baptist in Trinidad, and like how powerful it is with the Candomblé traditions in Brazil. And I was just like in college studying Africana studies, and I just wanted more. It was something that was drawing me to it. And then I found a home, Elay in Texas, and I had joined this Elay. I'm no longer with that Elay, but that was the start of the...
Can you explain to the people what an Elay is?
So Elay basically is kind of like what one would call a house or a church. And it's like the Yoruba's traditional way of saying like spiritual house. And so within what are the greatness of our ancestors, those mighty powerful ancestors, you can see a lot of the traditions that have come, and they have come and they have set up shop in Puerto Rico. They set up shop in places in New York and backwater things, and places in like Florida and Miami. You see these people wearing these E-Days. E-Days are the bracelets that you see, and they are like what you have on the Shango one. You still got that Shango one?
I still got it. This actually was a gift from my big sister Queen.
Okay, come on.
Still got it, girl.
Come on, be sweet about the Shango. She's a child of Shango, y'all. We don't know if it's rare for certain, but the way she is with her style and her flair, and you know, she has things come to her progressively easy. That's Shango children all day to me. So to me it is. So I was like, when I seen her in New York last time, I have to go to New York. I'm going instantly to a bodega and a botanical. That's where I'm going. So before we seen her, I stopped by the botanical, and I was like, oh, something spirit said, get this for Mariah. So I did. TheQueenPo needs this. But anyway, going back to explaining about the house, like certain things call you and you can't understand, and you need to have explanation. And sometimes you can pick up a book and read about it and get the information, but sometimes you got to go to the elders. And I have been blessed to have some really amazing elders. I mean, really, who were a blessing, who didn't want to take advantage of me, who would answer my little weird questions, and you know, and then I started to try to understand, like, why was it so like sacred? Why is there such a distance? And then I started watching like horror movies in regards to like how they sanction the Orisha tradition. And so they always made it scary and spooky. And I'm like, how are they making our tradition scary and spooky? You know, like, and then realizing that they don't want us to be in tune to that, because that is our power. That is our ashe. That is our power. The ashe representing the power. And then our ancestors put that to us. But nowadays, and I'm kind of just speeding up, just kind of talking about an introduction, spending some time in New Orleans, there are a lot of white people who are initiating to not only Ifa, but the voodoo tradition. And I'm like, how? You don't have African ancestors. I don't know how this is going to work for you. But yeah, I said it. You don't have African ancestors. I don't know.
Okay, so let me just say this. Okay, if y'all don't know, let me give y'all the fair warning. My big sister Queen Imani Latifah is raw and honest and unfiltered. Okay?
Because I love you.
Share her real views and perspectives. If you are sensitive, please, I'm telling you now, if you are sensitive, just know that she is going to tell her truth. Now, in the comments, you know, you have a right to feel how you feel. You can agree or disagree. I just ask that you keep it respectful. And you know, keep it respectful. But I'm giving y'all the warning now. Okay, so what's gonna happen is we're gonna talk about, really, we don't have like a list of like questions or anything.
An agenda. It's Mariah, whatever she's talking about. Mm-hmm.
Yes, we just have amazing, full, rich conversations, and we are just gonna allow spirit to move us. We're just gonna flow and see what y'all get. You know, y'all take what y'all want, leave whatever you want. But something you talked about in the beginning of your story, of your spiritual journey, which I know you have a lot more. But something you talked about in the beginning was how you tried different things. You know, you tried 5%, you tried Lukumi, and you tried Santeria, and you studied. Can you talk to us a little bit more about those times where you studied and you tried and studied and tried? What triggered you to try certain things, and what triggered you to move on and try something else?
I can't even say I really moved on. Sometimes you got to spit today's mathematics. Thank you, Wu-Tang. Sometimes you got to spit the mathematics. Sometimes you got to understand and go back to Farad Muhammad. Sometimes you have to go back to Clarence 13X with the 120 lessons. I think that we, as people of African descent, we have so many rich, even Noble Drew Ali, I mean, Daddy Grace, there's so many things. But I think that within these examples of these movements, these spiritual movements, there's something positive that we can take from each of them, especially 5%ers, because back in the 90s, I'm telling my age, but back in the 90s, I mean, you know, it was like a real Black power movement. And so everybody was like in tune to 5%ers. And I was listening to KRS-One back in the day. And I was like, this was really good edutainment. I think that was a word. The first time I heard that was through KRS-One. But even then in his songs, he was talking about Orisha and talking about like Allah. And we might not even been aware that this was being implanted in our psyche then, and how important it was. So it calls you like, you want to know what your favorite people are talking about. You want to know about the nation. You want to know about, you know, how it started. You want to know about the Noble Drew Ali's, even Dr. York, bless his heart. Like, you want to know, and there's been allegations, but even with his teachings and his books, whether one is in tune to that, there's always a lesson, a positive lesson to be learned. And even though I am not a Christian or a Muslim at this point in my life, there are times when you still got to go to church. For me in the South, though. And one of my favorite churches is First African Baptist in Savannah, Georgia. It's one of the oldest Black historical congregations in the United States. I think they go back to the 1700s, outside of Mother Bethel in Philadelphia, which is also Richard Allen, 1700s. You see, we've been studying, I know your history, know your culture. But our ancestors really laid the foundation for you to have that connection back to your source, which is always that Ori, which is your God consciousness, and your ancestors. You are the God within. And I think through all these teachings, whether it been 5% or when I've seen the transition from Ansar Allah to the Egyptian, the Nubian temple, when they had those pyramids in Edenton, Georgia, there's always something positive to learn to apply to your life, whether it be through business, how you deal with relationships. It's a lot of information, but you have the right as a person of African descent to apply those positive things to your life and work it. You know what I mean? And so for me, I feel like that's what I did. And I'm still learning. I am still learning. I am still a student. I'll probably be a student for the rest of my life. Yes.
Absolutely.
But you can't connect.
I always push.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, Queen. Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say something I always push in the wellness community, and just on YouTube and my whole YouTube family, everybody, is that study. Do not be in a rush to join an African traditional religion or to find your Ile or to, settle down in one spot. Don't be in a rush. Don't feel like you have to choose immediately. Study everything. And this is a prime example of why I say study everything, because as you can see, what the Sister Queen is telling us is that she studied, and parts of all of that is within her. If you come from a Christian background or Islamic background, or even if you just, studied and learned and understood, and sometimes you may feel that urge to go to church. Sometimes you feel the urge to go to Juma. Sometimes, you feel the urge to, venerate the ancestors and do what you have to do there. You never know what it is that'll be your breakthrough and that'll feed your wellness in that moment. Our wellness is not one note. To feed our wellness and to nourish our wellness, we need a multitude of things, So you only get that repertoire. You only build that repertoire. You only get that multitude added to your repertoire when you study. Do not feel rushed or urged to do anything and to settle in one space. Take your time. Please. And this is why I say this. Take your time.
It's a lifetime journey. And
absolutely.
I think when you pay attention, especially to your God conscious mind, and you and I recently talked about that, but I'm telling you, when you hear that voice inside your head telling you the yes or no, if you don't listen, I'm sure your beautiful, family of wellness seekers and doers out there can relate to that.
Absolutely.
You be doing something and you be like, I'm going to that man's house, and that pop in your head, girl, you shouldn't be going to that man's house. You shouldn't be going to that man's house. You shouldn't be going to that man's house. And you be like,
no,
what?
You shouldn't.
I'm going because you a G. And then you go and you find something you don't want to find. You might find it with somebody else. I'm just saying, I'm using that as an example.
As an example, no shade.
Okay. as an example only. But just using that, or just like, or not listening, or listening, and you have to listen to that in the spirit. It is never gonna lead you wrong. Never.
Absolutely. Spirit will never lead you wrong. And that intuition is strong within, especially when we're talking about wellness, we're talking about, how to just build and increase our connection to spirit. We all have it. We all are connected with spirit. We all have spirit guides. And ultimately, you have to tap into that intuition first, I believe. Tap into that intuition, that little feeling that you get, that feeling in your gut, that feeling in your third eye, when you feel a vibe in a room, all of that deals with intuition, and our intuition speaks to us in many ways. I always talk about omens and how the universe will tell us certain things, our house will tell us certain things, our body will give us certain signs of something going on. I gave y'all the example of feeling the pain in my chest. And I was, I told y'all after that, my grandfather had got sick. Well, I started feeling better, but then all of a sudden, the pain in my chest came back. I had a dream last night, which all of this is intuition, all of this is spirit speaking. Had a dream last night about my brother, and he was in a very unsettled, anxious position. Woke up out of my sleep, text my brother, just wanted to check on you, make sure you're okay. My brother has been feeling anxiety, and he said he was having panic attacks, and his heart, his chest was bothering him. He was going to the ER. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all of those signs speak to you. Your intuition is strong, but tap into that, follow that, connect with that more. And that's how you'll build up a connection with your ancestors and your spirit guides, and really that divine alignment with the universe. So my big
and with
queen,
each other.
Go ahead.
Girl,
Go ahead.
I will tell you a story. A couple of years ago, my dad had passed, and we had a cousin, and we had not seen this cousin And we have been trying to get in touch with this cousin. And so 2 days ago, we were, you look for Facebook, like I can't find my cousin, the number, you just couldn't find him. I was looking for like younger cousins. I was looking for a son. I was looking on Facebook. We were looking for old phone books and just could not find the information. And so my mom had really, she was like, he was on her heart so much. He was on her mind so much. And they hadn't spoken for 2 years. And so the next day after that, his wife called. And so my point to all of that is the fact that we are so connected in the universe. And I don't know if anybody knows, but the ozone layer has recently closed. So those messages are bouncing off and getting where they need to go. But spiritually, it's kind of like, oh, I just was thinking about you and you called. We need to definitely jump into that telepathy, that connection with each other, because that is divine love. That is divine connection. We are such spiritual beings that you be out with somewhere and you see somebody do some dumb, crazy stuff, and you look at her and she look at you, and y'all know what y'all is.
Right.
You ain't gotta say nothing. You ain't even gotta say anything. Y'all know.
Right. That's the black folks style. We can look and give each other eye contact. Don't have to say
we
nothing.
We got the shining, girl. We got the shining. You know what I'm saying?
That's
that thing is real. And I mean, Absolutely. It is so real. Like, and sometimes they can be in the form of spiritual gifts that are scary. I've had certain gifts where I could see if somebody was going to transition in and out my life, whether it be physically or spiritually. And as a younger person, it used to scare me really bad. But once I started to study and understand, oh, okay, that's just ancestors communicating with me, and then becoming more comfortable with that, it became easier. And so I'm just telling everybody, you got gifts, you got talent. Some of y'all are like off the level charts, telepathy, moving stuff in your brain, moving people in and out your life, moving money in your life. Tap into that. That shit is real. Manifestation is real, especially with communicating things you want. And I know you talk about that all the time.
Big Sister Queen, I think you said something amazing when you talked about that fear. When you were younger and you had those fears and how you responded to them. I find that a lot of people email me and DM me with questions about, feeling a spiritual gift, or they've been told in the past that they have this spiritual gift, but because of how they've been taught or conditioned, whether it's via, the church or, whatever practice they grew up in, they've been conditioned that this stuff is demonic and this stuff is wrong. So they kind of have a fear. What advice would you give them on how to break through that fear of tapping into African spirituality?
Well, first thing I'm going to say, and I don't want to freak anybody out, but Spirit is telling me to say it. So just bear with me, my loves. Within the Ifa tradition, evil and demonic and shaitan, as they say, it doesn't exist. I'm not saying that evil does not exist in the form of what's going on in the world, but I'm talking about this image of, oh, my change is so off. Ooh. I'm just talking about this image as far as the devil is concerned. That does not exist.
How we know him with the red and the red horns and how he's been portrayed in images.
Yes. I mean, how do you think they got us from the motherland? They scared us with these tactics.
Queen, can I just say, okay, go there so you can go there. Okay, they need you to go there. So
I mean, I'm going to be as gentle and gingerly as possible when I say this. You say, okay. So, my beloveds, you've got to study Dr. John Henrik Clarke, anything about world history, and especially from a spiritual base. Please, 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 Dr. John Henrik Clarke. Also, Dr. Francis Cress Welsing. Read the ISIS papers. Read it like 3 times, because before you start understanding it, you're going to have to read it like 3 times, because it took me like 3 times, and maybe it might take you 1 time. The Mutanetta, read that. The Mutanetta, volume 1. Don't even get the volume 2. Read your volume 1. I'm saying all those to say, and I know you got
y'all a book list now. So everybody who be asking for a book list, book recommendations.
And then we'll get to this book right here too. This book right here too. Can you see this?
Tap in.
This book right here. This book is on Amazon, y'all. A beloved elder, one of my Babalawo advisors and teachers, Baba Solo, he recommended this book to me. He is the first person who gave me my Ifa reading like forever years ago. But Baba had this book. I was like, ooh, hoodoo is like, yeah, start tapping in and reading stuff. This is your legacy. Read books like that. So going back to that, you know, historically, a long time ago when Black people was chilling in Africa with their own languages, food ways, and culture and spirituality, we had people like the Dogon people. The Dogon people could detect like things that was happening within the astronomy, how they could detect things. And then years later, Europeans went and was like, how in the world did they know that? How were they connected to know this information about the stars? No trace of the devil. I'm just gonna throw that out there. No trace. And I'm just trying to just give you a wealth of information so you will look at it for yourself.
So they were studying the universe. They were studying the stars, the trees,
yes.
the sun, nature, the moon, everything they were studying.
We are nature. Like we are nature. Unfortunately, within our transition through history, when a lot of people took a lot of, you know, there was a group of people that took a whole group of people from a whole continent because they didn't necessarily have the skill set to do anything. And so in the words of Dr. John Henrik Clarke, or I would say Dr. Bara Shango, who is an ancestor, they are ancestors. African people gave the concept of God to the world. You heard me. Let me say it again. African people gave the concept of God to the world. You are, like Nas said, the question and the answer. You the question and the answer. So how could an entity, an energy that gave God to the world be of anything evil? Anything. I'm not saying we are not, because there are a lot of evil things and situations and energy in the world. You have to do that. You have to keep putting this rose-colored glasses over people's eyes to make you think that your history is non-existent. Your religion is evil, bad. Yet alone they in New Orleans, tons of white people practicing voodoo. Tons going to Haiti learning. Tons of people going into Ifa.
Learning our magic and changing the names. And really that's the history of many religions, you know, is taking our magic, taking what we taught them, changing the names and feeding it back to us in a way that services them. That's a lot of what our religions that we grew up on is. It's our own magic. I spoke before when I did the video on can Christians practice African spirituality? And in the very beginning of the video, I told you, you already are. You just don't know it. You just don't know it. You know, they've spoon-fed us our own medicine, but sprinkled they shit on top and told us it was something else. You know, and with what's happening with everything, with actual medicine. If you really study real medicine, it's herbs. They extract the benefits, the vitamins, the nutrients from the herbs, put it in their own form. They cut it, you know, and feed it back to us and sell it to us for hundreds and hundreds of dollars, to the point that we can't even afford it anymore. But this is what we taught them. You know, and I feel like, and Big Sister Queen, please check me and correct me if I'm misinterpreting, but I really, you know, I don't want people to think that she's saying that, you know, there is no such thing as evil, there is no such thing as bad, because at the end of the day, we know energy cannot be created or destroyed. It can only be transferred, transmuted. Understand? At the core of everything is wellness. We are aligned. So how could you look at someone or something and assume that it is evil at its core? That means that you are calling yourself evil. What happens to a lot of people is they become conditioned to do bad and think that it's right. They become conditioned to do wrong and think that it's right. At the core of the worst person that you know is wellness. They have just become so disconnected from their wellness due to conditioning. And that's why when you go on your healing journey, I always push, you have to unlearn and relearn.
Absolutely.
You have to unlearn that negativity. You have to unlearn those bad things and relearn what feeds your wellness. So someone that you may think is evil, something you may think is evil, at the core, it's really wellness. They just ain't connected to it no more.
Right.
That's
Right.
all.
It's and the whole thing is like, we are in a world where you have all kinds of negative things coming at you, from sex trafficking, from child abuse, from bad politics, from just all kinds of people. Like, I've heard a lot of priests. When we went last year to New Orleans, and
Absolutely.
we seen one of our beloved ears, Oshun, and how she talked about it was a diss to the fresh waters of the world, because you're destroying the lives of women when you're dealing with sex trafficking. The fresh waters of the world are drying up. Oshun is angry when you don't treat her well. And so not treating her well is not just, it's like we're all on this planet together. If you pollute the environment, you're polluting yourself. You are polluting yourself. And we have a lot of things internally that we need to help, that we need to fix. Our mental health is out of sorts. Oh my God, our mental health, Lord. And so right now, with everything that's going on, there's still a cause and effect for us to have what they call in the Yoruba tradition, Iwa Pele. Iwa Pele, and please forgive my Philadelphia accent, it's character. It's good character. And so when you realize that the accountability is you will really look at stuff differently. Like, nobody else can hold you accountable the way you hold you accountable. Absolutely. On down to what you eat, on down to how you deal with things, on down to even you being mean to yourself, be loving to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Teach your children, teach yourself about how your ancestors defeated so many things and how they thought about us in the future. It almost makes me cry how they thought about us. They survived, they thought about us under the worst, heinous, insidious conditions. And we are still here, and we are still thriving, and we are still celebrating. Yeah.
Absolutely. First off, y'all, I just have to contain my excitement because I love having conversations like this. And me and my big sister Queen talk often. And I'm so grateful that you guys finally get to join in on this conversation, because this is our regular conversation.
Yeah, we talk like this on a regular.
On a regular, and the thing that I'm most excited about is I get so excited about helping people really get this knowledge and get this information, because this knowledge and this information was my breakthrough that I needed to really, really, really understand myself and really go on my journey of gaining knowledge of self. This was the root of it. So, Big Sister Queen, for you, knowledge of self, when you hear that term, knowledge of self, especially, going back to the early days, that 5%, you know what I'm saying? When you think of the term knowledge of self, what do you think of, and how did you start your journey of truly gaining knowledge of self?
I would have to put that all on my mom. My mom is a hardcore revolutionary to this day. My mom is like, oh my God, she is the ultimate Pan-Africanist queen. She is the ultimate Black fist, and she allowed me to have so many things, and so many things in my life. And just being called Imani when there were no Imanis in 1979, and we stopped celebrating Christmas. We had the Kwanzaa celebration, and I was like, we ain't got no, I only had Christmas at grandma's house, but in my mom's house we had Kwanzaa in 1979. 1980 we had Kwanzaa, so it was just like, but then I was like, oh wait a minute, you get 7 gifts. Oh, I like this a little bit better. But just understanding that foundation and always having to listen to lectures. She probably listens to a lecture now, right? Or watching some Nollywood African movie because she doesn't want to see certain people. But I really attribute that to my mom, all right? I attribute that to my mom. My mom gave me jazz. She gave me, education early. She gave me John Henry Clark. I mean, I was blessed to meet John Henry Clark when I was like 13 years old. John Henry Clark. I mean, we're talking about master teacher. I met him, having me read Dr. Amos Wilson. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are some of the prominent Black psychologists of our era, coming out of that Black school of thought, and just giving that to me. Having me watch all kinds of things. The Spook Who Sat by the Door. That's what caused me to go to film school.
Oh, yes.
I probably watched that at the age of 13. You know what I'm saying? That's how I live my life. The Spook Who Sat by the Door. If y'all haven't seen it, it's on YouTube. Watch that shit, y'all. Watch it. You will be like, yo, I get it. I for real get it.
Free on YouTube. Free.
Yeah. It was written by Sam Greenleaf, who believed in guerrilla filmmaking and really getting our message across. And this movie was banned by the FBI. They did not want colored people to see this. They did not want us to see it because it had such a powerful message of empowering you where you are. No matter what what the poverty was, no matter how your conditioning was, empowering you to be great and to depend on your people and be disciplined. This is what this movie represents. You know what I'm saying? It was directed by the amazing Ivan Dixon. Y'all can tell I love films. Films is my thing. And
I should have said that in the intro. So Imani is also a film. I just called her a creator because she do some everything.
I'm humble.
But she's also, one of her creations is she's an amazing filmmaker. Filmmaker, and she has a beautiful, unique way of documenting our ancestral traditions and history in her films. You know, amazing filmmaker, and she also, of course, studies film. You went to SCAD. You have your master's, and your master's is in film.
Yes, ma'am. I have a master's from SCAD. Like, oh my god. Yeah.
Just something like, you know.
The prestigious Savannah College of Art and Design, a very private and very PWI school, and I had an amazing time there. It's an amazing school, but I went to a historical HBCU school and got a very Black degree, so that was my foundation, y'all. Like, you know, let's get it. But I would love to see our people be more creative in telling our own stories and really plotting our own why. We are in a superior thinking age. Well, there's no excuse. Absolutely. People can no longer just tell us anything and we not go on back it up by not opinion, because fuck all that. Research, and understanding what our truth is, because we have our truth. You know what I'm saying? We have our truth. It's our responsibility to have it, understand it, teach it to ourselves, and teach it to the babies. We ain't got no excuse now. No excuse. Absolutely. And then we take our truth. And if people want our truth, they're going to have to pay for that shit. People always want, come on. Speak on it, Mariah. Come on. They got to pay us for our shit. We are
so I want y'all to see the steps. I want y'all to see the steps that she giving y'all, right? She's talking about understanding knowledge of self through studying history and studying who you are, and whatever your rightful place is, however you identify all aspects. I have another video where I talked about intersectionality. So study your intersection, study who you are and how you identify in all aspects, the history of it and the present form. And then she's telling you to teach it to your children. So once you study and learn for yourself, teach it to the children, teach it to the next generation, and continue studying. Remember earlier, we talked about how we are students for life. So never stop studying. However, as you learn, teach, and then find whatever creative way that you are passionate about. For my big sister Queen, it's film. For me, it's a variety of things. Find out what way you are passionate about packaging your knowledge, and you sell it back to them.
That's
and
get
your coin. Okay,
that's right.
Get your coin, because they want our information, they want our knowledge, and they've been stealing it. But gratefully, we are at a turning revolutionary age where we are taking our power back and reclaiming who we are, and we are understanding the game. Okay, we are understanding the game. So
yes,
play the game to win.
One thing I learned from, and then so many jagnas. Jagna is another term for teacher, advisor. Within our communities, we don't like to use the word mentor. We use the word jagna, which is close to like an Akan word, meaning like teacher, advisor. And definitely learning an African language. There's so many. So we can really get back to a cultural wearing, whether it's Swahili or the Yoruba tradition. There's so many of them, but it's our responsibility to learn that. And there's nothing wrong with learning Spanish or French, because we have Spanish speaking Africans who we need to communicate with too, especially in South America. Speaking of South America real quick, I have an Orisha story. One of our dear sister friends, I'm gonna say her name, Kelly. So Kelly, you're gonna have to watch this. Kelly is in Vegas now. Yeah, girl, I'm telling all your business. But she's there enjoying herself and having the time of her life with family. We had gone to Cancun for her birthday, and we were having some transitional feelings, and things were going on with us kind of going from our elect. Because sometimes, within your spiritual movements, you meet people, and sometimes you go as far as you can go with them. And then you transition to the next step. And it's no disrespect. Even like some people who you went to a church all your life, but you feel like you've outgrown that. You are interested in doing something else for your spiritual space. So you decide to leave the church. It's no different from that. So anyway, we were kind of transitioning out of where we were. And so she had a set of Elekes. Mariah, do your family of wellness, do they know what the Elekes are?
In the wellness community, I shared about Elekes. I believe I talked about Elekes on here, but please explain it again, because of course we have new subscribers and new folks. Speaking of, hey everybody who's new. Also, if y'all see me looking down, it's because I'm active and I'm chatting in the live chat and responding to comments. So people are asking for the movie again, for the film again, and things like that, and just giving their views. So if y'all see me looking down, please, I'm listening, paying attention, but I'm talking to some folks. But please explain Elekes
girl,
again.
Up in there.
I'm telling you, right?
I know. And it's Spook who sat by the door, y'all. Spook who sat by the door. And anything we'll get together and make sure you have whatever we were talking about.
And put it in the description box.
Yeah, because we want you to have this information, y'all. This information is for you. So anyway, we were in Cancun. It was for her 30th birthday. And I'm that sister. I'm like, all right, where we going? We get on a plane. Like, we got to use our passports. I'm there. I'm that sister. Even now, let me find out I can get somewhere where I need to use my passport. I will be traveling. I have no fear. Okay. So that I'm that sister. And so we in Cancun, we had a marvelous time. It was a really Black as fuck trip, because I never knew how Black Mexico was until I went there. And that was my first time going a couple of years ago to Mexico. And so we took a bus trip to the pyramids, which was magical. The energy.
There are pyramids in Mexico, y'all.
Yes,
there are
y'all,
pyramids in Mexico. Some people don't know that.
Built by your ancestors.
There are pyramids in Mexico, not just in Egypt, but there are pyramids all over the world. So she went to the ones in Mexico. So
the pyramids, and it's amazing how brilliant our people are. The pyramid is 90 steps up on each side. So it's a perfect 360, 90, 90, 90, 90. That blew my mind. Like the fact that, like, how did they even build that like that? And so this was by the Mayan temple, and it was a huge area, but you go and you feel like $1 million. $1 million. And then we went to a Mayan place, and this is where we learned about the African Mexican side, which I had never even heard of. And so a lot of Africans, believe it or not, went to Mexico and were enslaved in Mexico. And just recently, they are starting to identify and talk about the African past in Mexico, because they are there, baby. They are there, and they are waiting for you to come. And so it's called the Yucatan Peninsula, where the pyramids are. And so we did that. We did a fish spa. It was really cool. But the most cool and the most beautiful thing about the trip is you find African presence all over the place. And I think we were downtown Cancun, and we ran into this elder from Trinidad, because, Caribbean people, Cancun is like Caribbean. So Caribbean people all over the place. And so he spoke Spanish and English. And so we ran into a shop. It was set Oya Botanical. Now, for those of you who know, or for those of you who don't know, Oya is an Orisha directly from the Yoruba people of West Africa, that little place they call Nigeria, Benin. Oya, like a good example of Oya in media is Storm. Storm would be a Oma Oya because of her attributes, her connection to tornadoes and winds and so forth. And so the name of the botanical was called Oya Botanical. And she was like, yo, and I was like, yo, we going in here. Now, most people, they don't go into Oya spiritual botanicals. We went in there. It was incense. It was sage. It was alekes. It was Orisha, big and small. It was amazing. And so I think Kelly had lost a couple of her alekes. And so we asked the elder. She was a little old Mexican lady. She spoke no English. And she was a priestess of Oya. And she had a long black ponytail, a white tie, and she had on all white, right? She was an elder, very serious. And so the elder who we met from Trinidad, he translated from us. And so we asked her if we could buy some alekes and would she bless them, and she agreed. So we paid her the derecho, which in the Lucumia Century or Spanish money, and she took them in the back and she had some herbs and she prayed over them and she did whatever she did in the back because we did not see her. She went in the back and did her thing.
And so her thing.
She came back, and I think Kelly she got Elegua, she got Obatala, she got Yemoya, she got Oshun, and she got Shango. And I think I had gotten an Oleke for Oya, Ogun, and I think Ochasi, because I had Alekes already. And she actually had them, but like I said, unfortunately, she had misplaced them. And so as she was giving her the Aleke, she said that she would have to get them consecrated, which means that they have to go through a ceremony with priest and priestess or a babalao to do it,
to get them blessed,
right? Without me saying too much, but to get them fed the proper way, because there's a proper
some things
way.
are still sacred, you guys. So
right, so, there's a proper way that you feed or consecrate to make it, putting your ashe into the alekes, right? And so as she was getting the alekes, she started crying. There was another elder in there. She was a priestess of Yemeya. She started crying. I started crying. We all just crying in there. The elder priestess, oh yeah, stern, hardcore face. And so she gave her each of the alekes, and she told her to kiss them and put them on. And she told her what it means and the responsibility. And it was just a beautiful experience. Now we in motherfucking Mexico having a black as fuck experience. Africa followed us all the way to Mexico. Africa followed us to Mexico. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? It blew my mind. I would have never thought in a million years. And I tell that story because like, it was just a beautiful experience. I never knew that our ancestors had reached, taught, secured their legacy in Mexico. That's what I'm talking about. It was beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you know, the point is Africa is everywhere. We are everywhere. And when I did that 4-hour live a couple of days ago, a few days ago, and in that live, I talked about my experience of, going to Africa and traveling the continent and, what I experienced there. But I also spoke on how when I travel, I study African spirituality and I study our people no matter where I go, whether I go to Cuba, whether I go to Mexico, whether I'm in Africa, whether I'm in Paris or wherever, I always look for us because we are everywhere. So I urge you, and what she's advising you as well is no matter where you travel, I don't care if it's in the US, start with your hometown and where you are now. Study some stuff in your hometown. There. Find the elders there, and trust me, if they are true practitioners, they may not be right in your face. Like I said earlier, some things are still sacred. So you may have to do a little digging and a little research and a whole lot of asking around, to really find the true, right. But you really gotta study, starting where you are. And then as you travel and you expand out, always look for us, Yes. Oftentimes we go to these places and we want to do all the tourist stuff, we want to do that, but make that a part of your tourist stuff. If you go to Paris, hit up Chateau Rouge and go have some fish and some stew at one of the Senegalese restaurants and talk to the elders, talk to the shop owners, wherever. If you live in New York, Harlem, Brooklyn, there's areas everywhere where you can sit at the feet of elders, come respectful, come with an offering and just ask questions. And that is really what the foundation of knowledge itself comes from. The foundation of studying who we are comes from. It comes from sitting at the feet of elders, as I said earlier, some of my fondest memories of our friendship is sitting at the feet of Baba Badru and listening to his stories. You know, Baba Badru he's a Babalawo from
the best
Nigeria,
stories.
you know,
Yes.
the best storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
And we, as you know, babies to him, and I'm a
Just
baby to all of them in the room.
Yeah.
And we would sit at his feet and just listen to stories, eat fufu and egusi. And that really, for me, was the foundation of truly, truly understanding the power of connecting it all. So I urge you to study, 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 and start where you are, but everywhere you travel, we are there. So, big sister Queen, for you, you know, as you moved along your journey of knowledge of self and you start, you know, trying different things and, you know, understanding and studying different, you know, African traditional religions, can you speak on some of your experience with other practitioners, babalawos, iyas, you know, because what I find is that people come into African spirituality and they think that it is going to be a safe haven and they think that it's going to be so much better than what they experienced prior to the church. They think there's going to be no drama. They think there's going to be no arguments, no differences. Everyone is like kumbaya and you know, and although there's a lot of that, but can you speak on some of your experiences of studying a variety of things?
I will say, a matter of fact, one of my big brothers, we just was talking about this. It was either this morning or yesterday, about when you move along, like you don't even require your elekes because it's just in you now, and not that like it's kind of like a neophyte would kind of wear like their elekes or whatever, like their orisha bling, as some people would call it. But now you don't even need it because you speak, you think, and you see that energy and everything. But
hold on one second. Can we pause real quick? So when she's speaking on elekes, we didn't really explain it before. I talked about it in previous videos, but when she's speaking on the elekes, and it's similar to like neos of, you know, like Greek life wearing their letters, you know, so you know, like a Greek, like deltas, AKs and everything. Normally when they first cross, they go everywhere with paraphernalia on.
That's right.
So in spirituality, quite often you'll see people with their elekes and all of this stuff, and you know, that's not a sign, but you know, that, as she said, as you progress, you realize that you don't need all of that, you know. You don't need all of that.
You have it and it's sacred, but like it's just embedded in you. And so like I mean, you're not like getting rid of your stuff. That's your stuff. That's your ashe. It's still sacred, but you realize that it's always in you. And those are just beautiful representations,
adornment,
especially with our ancestors leaving the continent. Because if you look at when you go to Nigeria or Benin, and there's another documentary you guys should watch if you have Amazon Prime, the amazing, what's his name? Hensu, oh my gosh, I'm gonna mess up his name. The beautiful Black man that was in Give Us Free. I can't believe I can't think of his name.
Amistad? Yes, his real name. I forgot. Diamond Hansu.
Yes, thank you.
Yes.
He directed this documentary about voodoo, and it is brilliant.
What is the name of that doc, sis?
I just watch it.
We gotta put that out there in the comments, y'all. We'll put it in the description box. I swear. But you could just type in Diamond Hansu voodoo doc, and it'll come up in Google.
And it's gonna come up, but it's on Prime. It is a beautiful, very well done documentary about the aspect of us telling our own stories from our own perspectives, in the sacredness. But like you really begin to see how he's talking about with certain people who came, they took not only you out of Africa, they took your religion out of you as well, and how it's important to really regain that and put that back. So please watch that documentary. Absolutely. But I'm saying all that to say is that in any situation, there can be a situation where people can lose your trust, or they can try to just be in it for the money. And so, or try to take advantage of you. There are a lot of babalawos always in my DMs. where the spirit told them that they had to contact me because the ants, I need to feed, do all this stuff. And I just politely say, okay, thank you. I'm never rude. But I hear a lot of elder priests in the traditions that they complain about it because these are, I'm talking about the elder priests that I see, especially the ones who are very well off in the tradition, are like complaining like, do you know who I am and how long I've been in this? I mean, we talk about real hardcore priests that have had Orisha on their head for years. Like I said, I'm still a baby. I am still learning, you know? And I'm just speaking about my
hold on,
experience.
sis, how long have you been practicing? How long have you been practicing and studying?
Maybe about now, maybe about 13 years now, 13, 14 years. And with Orisha.
So family,
yeah.
With just Orisha only, not everything else she talked about. She studied as far as, you know, like Lukumi and Santeria and studying, you know, 5% and everything. Just Orisha Ifa tradition, 13 years, and she still considers herself a baby. And I always speak on this, y'all, the value of I always see myself as a baby in the game because as you can see, I got big sister queens like this who are a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of information and who've been in the game for a long time. And she still sees herself as a baby. You know what I'm saying? A baby in this thing. Yes. And cherish that. Cherish feeling like a baby because guess what? Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
All right now.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown. Enjoy that baby phase. Enjoy that infant phase. Enjoy it, enjoy it, enjoy it, and cherish it. It is okay. It's what's laying the foundation and building the strength for you to be able to wear and adorn that crown proudly. But you got to earn some stripes. Sis, I think it's very important that you spoke on, you know, the Babalawos who slides in the DMs. You know, because I get that question quite often. People will say, well, so it's somebody reached out to me and they told me that they got a reading and they told me, and this person don't know you from nothing. You know, they may follow you on Facebook or Instagram or something. It happens to all of us, y'all.
Yeah,
it happens to all of us.
Be careful. We love the fact that our Nigerian brothers and sisters or whoever or wherever they are can reach out to us and talk to. We get it. We love that, but just be careful. Usually, you have to trust your own intuition. There are some people out there who mean you well. And some people out there who are generally kind and, you know, they might want you to give them a reading, but you might have to send them $100 US. Nah, just take your time. When you know things are right, your heart is going to tell you, and just be careful because, unfortunately, just like with anything, people are out to, you know, make a dollar. And not to say that you shouldn't trust, you know, you have to kind of you have to like really trust somebody with your spiritual presence. And you will know once you've gotten to know that person. It takes a little time, you know, because it's like, you know, especially when you're a newbie and you're really coming into the tradition, like you don't really know like who and what, and everybody's kind of looking for this whole Messiah thing. But that's what I'm saying. You take your time. If you know, I always tell people, if you want to start, the first thing you start with is your ancestors. You just get a white candle and put up a white candle and a glass of water and just start meditating there. Put up a plant or, you know, pictures of your ancestors and take it easy. Read. And then when the time begins to reveal itself, people will be coming into your life because you'll start manifesting that. But be easy, chill, because they're going to always be in your DMs. You might post a picture of Alegwa, which I love Alegwa. Alegwa is so near and dear to me. Alegwa is the messenger of Olodumare, and Alegwa, anywhere in the world, is always the one to open all the ceremonies. It doesn't matter if you're in Nigeria, if you're in Cuba, if you are in Brazil, Alegwa is always the messenger. And there's so many amazing stories that you can read about the Orisha, and, you know, whether it be from an allegory perspective or anybody's, but the knowledge is here. So collect your books and start reading. And when it's time to ask questions, if you're in Atlanta, if you're in New York, there's so many humble people that are willing to teach. And eventually, if you're going to go in that tradition, you'll find godparents that you will trust, that will guide you, and that you will trust. But you'll make the decision when it's time. But anything else, take your time. If somebody comes into your DM, just be mindful. And you don't have to be rude. I mean, I'm not ever rude, but I just say thank you and just rock out, you know? So.
For me personally, I don't respond. I don't
Mm-hmm.
respond. Me personally, and for me, I've responded a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
and it's always, I don't
It
respond anymore.
varies.
I don't respond anymore.
Yeah.
And I've had quite a few experiences. I've had a few times where people have created fake profiles using my picture
Oh,
and
yeah.
and stealing money from people.
Using
One
your
person,
picture?
somebody did using my picture. One
No.
person, I still have the screenshot. They created a whole profile calling their name, calling themselves Queen Adora or something like that, and was DMing my followers, telling them that I'm selling waist beads, and had people sending them money to a PayPal and all kind of
Did they
stuff.
get their waist beads?
They never got. That's how I found out, because
I was hopeful.
a few people messaged me and they sent them money, thinking that they were sending it to me, getting waist beads, and come to find out the person who was running the fake account was one of those people who was a babalabo that messaged me prior, and I responded to him, turning him down. But he then created a fake account, so after that, I don't respond at all anymore.
Yeah.
I don't respond at all. Please, 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 you guys, be very, very mindful of that.
Yeah,
but moving on, just follow your spirit, follow your spirit, follow your spirit, guys. Really listen to your intuition, and as she said, you'll get that feeling. You'll get that feeling in your heart. You'll get that little tingle in your spirit when something is right.
That's right.
When something is right and when it's meant for you, it'll also just come to you. You'll find it. I always speak about the aura and how the aura, goes as far as 6 feet outside of our body. So for a lot of people who don't know, Erykah Badu has a song 6 feet tall, and that's really what she's talking about in the song. Our aura goes out 6 feet outside of our body, and you attract what you are radiating from within. You know
Absolutely.
what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So please understand that when you are prepared and you are ready from within, you will attract within your aura what is meant and aligned with that aura, with that energy.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you have really have a picture of that. You will attract what's aligned with it. So that's why we say start with the knowledge of self.
Yes.
Studying yourself and preparing yourself, and what's meant for you to know, you will absolutely be attracted to, and it will come to you. Okay. Please understand that. Be patient with your journey. Take your time. As you can see, she even advised, you can have your little altar with your white candle, your glass of water, and you can just start there if that's all you have, and just pray and honor your ancestors, venerate, put out a little offerings if you want to, if you feel led to, but let everything come from your spirit. And just start there.
Like they say at church, take it to the altar, your altar right at home, where you sit in all your sacredcy,
your sacred space,
all your sacredcy. And then, the fun thing of being a tradition, but you just have to be mindful. And like I said, when stuff is right, and when stuff is wrong. You know it. And our intuition kicks in, where how you people have to gain your trust. It's not something that you just give. They have to earn that trust. It doesn't matter, spiritual teacher or babalawo or anything. You'll know if it's something that's going to be of assistance to you. And like I said, sometimes it depends on my mood. I'm a Cancer, so I might be having an emotional day that day, and I might be because I know sometimes that people come and I know they don't really understand the essence of what's going on with Black people in America if they're overseas and they're not educated in the sense where they're hip to beyond what the white media is saying, what's really going on with us around the world. And so I kind of question them and ask them, do you know what's going on with Black people in America? It's deep. It's serious. We're in the spiritual war right now. So we got to maintain our dignity and our sacred space. Manifest, y'all. Manifest. Put them ancestors up and appraise them. You know what I'm saying? And you know,
wait, hold on, because I got just for you saying that alone, I have a few questions that I want to ask you. First off, I want to start with a question from the chat. Journey's Redemption asked an amazing question that I get quite often, and I want to know your perspective on this. She said, how do you go about finding godparents when you live in a really small town full of closed-minded people? This journey is the most freeing, at the same time, the loneliest I have been on thus far.
Oh, my
What advice would you give her about finding godparents when you live in a small town?
Oh, okay. Well, my love, I'm not sure where you are, but I know a lot of times you might connect with people, and if you can make that move, you might have to travel a little bit. If you can get in contact, or if you meet some godparents and you start kind of getting in tune to them, and you find out that that's something that you really want to do. But what I suggest is that there are so many groups on Facebook. There's so many groups on Facebook where you can go in and just learn and ask questions. You know what I'm saying? Or just go in to read the comments about what's going on in that tradition. And there are some amazing people. Like there's so many Orisha people on Facebook that put out information in regards to the songs. Even on YouTube, you can watch on YouTube and start connecting, because people know people everywhere. You never know who's in your town or the town over, or I'm not sure where the queen is, but you know, the tradition is never too far away. It's never far away, even in tiny little towns in the South.
Somebody else is there.
Yeah.
Somebody else is there. And usually in the small towns, you'll find the most people, you know. I told y'all know my family, as well as Imani's family. Oh, we even got to talk about that. We even got to talk about that. I was going to talk about, you know, the Gullah Geechee roots. Yes, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, Gullah Geechee.
And that's where it really is. That's where it really is. That's where the core is. You know, sister, also, like, side note, if you could change your name at the bottom of your screen, if you know how to do that. I don't know how to do that, but if you know how to do that, you change your name to your CashApp, whatever your CashApp is. And if you guys feel urged, if your spirit is leading you, please bless the big sister queen if you can. And if you would like to, any donations, just because she's a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of information. And we definitely like to give offerings, and we like to thank our family members who, join us. And,
I'm going to write it down. I don't know. I don't want to hang up.
You don't know how to change it? Me either, girl. I don't know how to do it.
I don't want to be like,
okay.
I'll find. But, you know what? I'll put it at the end of the post, so y'all can, y'all can bless me or patronize me. I have some beautiful stuff that I sell, and that. Yeah, but like, this wealth of blessing, y'all blessing us by just joining and participating and being here on a Friday night, because you could be doing anything in COVID era. You could be at the drive-in theater, boo. You could be there, okay, or watching Beyonce's Blackest King on Disney again for the fourth time. I have to watch it again, y'all. And I'm kind of curious to know what people thought about that, because like, I am not a Beyonce fan. I gotta say this, but I love.
Okay. No, we're gonna get into Blackest King. I wanted to go back to Journey's question on the small town thing.
I'm sorry.
And understanding, coming from a Gullah Geechee family, and Imani, who is deep and has lived, in those small towns and small areas. That is where you'll find a lot of the culture. That is where you'll find a lot of spiritual practices. Because honestly, that's where a lot of practitioners go. A lot of practitioners,
they in the country.
as they progress throughout their, their studies and progress throughout their practices, they'll move to small towns because that's where they feel comfortable and they feel safe and they feel like they can grow their gardens and do their thing and not be bothered. So a lot of like off-grid living as well, So as she said, you can find a virtual community, a virtual community that you trust, follow your spirit, one that you trust, one that you feel comfortable with. Please, please, please find a virtual community. If you feel like there's nobody around you, just ask your spirit guides to lead you to a community online. And there are quite a few of them, and they will lead you there, So please, please, please join these redemption. And anyone who is experiencing that, please understand that there's a community out there for you. You don't have to feel lonely on this journey. There's a
Right.
community out there for you. Join the wellness community. We actually was just talking about this in the wellness community group chat, like what you should do and how to, start your African traditional religious journey, talking about godparents and things like that.
Yeah.
So just find a community that your spirit is leading you to, and
Mm-hmm.
definitely go from there. Another thing I wanted to touch on that you kind of like brought up earlier was, as you were on your journey and you were
Mm-hmm.
progressing, you spoke on your HBCU experience, and going to a
Yes,
HBCU and how
girl.
that shaped you. And
Yeah.
Imani, her bachelor's degree is in Africana Studies.
Yeah.
And,
Wow. Black
her
degree from a black
master's is in
school.
film, black
Mm-hmm.
degree from a black school, her master's is in film, and you
Mm-hmm.
make these amazing films
Mm-hmm.
documenting our stories, our
Mm-hmm.
ancestral history, our
Mm-hmm.
ancestral practices. Can you speak a little bit on your passion of film, your passion with film?
When I got out of undergrad, and I wanted to go to film school to learn the technical aspect and to learn it from the so-called masters. Like all my professors at SCARE were all white men. I think I had one woman who was uh, my first year script writing class, but all my professors were like Hollywood people, like they had worked like in Hollywood, old school and new school. And so I learned a lot of technical things from them, but because I had this background of all this wealth of information of African studies and African American studies, it made me an excellent storyteller. My master's thesis film, which turned into a small film, which is actually in Flow Film Festival now, which is coming up in September. It's a film festival. My girl Kim, hey, I'm gonna channel you, Kim. You gotta watch this. But Kim is an amazing woman, and so I was her first film selected, and the film is called Ancestors. And basically, the film is shot in the Low Country part of Georgia. We shot in a cemetery. Yes, I'm a child of Oya, so I'll be in cemeteries, y'all. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You learn a lot about history. And it basically is about a man who is not paying homage to his ancestors and is visited by a white witch. And so a couple of stories came from this story. My love for Caribbean folklore, my love for Gullah Geechee history and culture, my love for the Orisha. I tried to put everything in this 12-minute film that I could possibly fit. And so we shot this film over 4 days, and we shot it at the amazing Geechee Kunda, which I'm a part of, and so is Mariah, a part of the Geechee Kunda family. Shout out to our loved ancestor, Baba Jim, and the beloved Mama Pat, who is still there, who allowed me to shoot at their home/museum. And the film basically, like I said, is about a man not paying homage to his ancestors. He was told, because I had a Baba Lowell, that if you don't, it's consequences and repercussions, bruh. And so basically, if you don't do this, all you got to do is pay homage to your ancestors, and them witches will leave you alone. But he didn't do that. So there was consequences. And so that's what the film is about. But in that film, I had read a story called, and this is old school, Jamaican folklore story called The White Witch of Rose Hall. And it's a book that came out in the 1950s, probably earlier than that, but it's about a white woman who was a famous witch. Her name is Annie Palmer. You can Google this story, YouTube about it. And this is a true story. The Rose Hall, Jamaica is a real place. I have visited there. And so the story kind of talks about how she was she had a Haitian nanny who taught her the secrets of voodoo. And she was a very, very mean mistress who basically was very mean to the enslaved Africans that was there. And so she was known for killing 3 of her husbands to kind of take ownership of this particular plantation. And so pretty much the story goes, she had killed, she had 2 Black lovers and 3 husbands. So she killed all 3 of their lovers, and they're buried in front of the house. But after a while, the community got tired of her and killed her. And she's buried to this day in Jamaica in On her tomb, there's 3 crosses, and that's dealing with Obia. And so when I did my master's thesis, I tried to put the aspect of the white witch, my gracious, amazing producer, who is a white lady. She's in Australia, one of my favorite people. But she really believed in my film project, and she played my witch. And so that kind of, I had on a Victoria dress. I'm saying all that to say is that knowing these stories allowed me to tell our stories better, more detailed. Even in the film, you see the people are in the they're in the graveyard with blue hands representing the indigo that our ancestors had to pick in Georgia, South Carolina. And it did not give them a good quality of life because it was chemical on their hands. And this is something that the Africans did. The whole Holy Trinity is not the Lord, Father, and the Son. That's not it. And the Low Country is cotton, rice, and indigo. These are things that you learn when you know your history. Cotton, big crop. Rice, big crop. The ancestors, they came from Sierra Leone, they came from Senegal with this knowledge and science of how to do these things. All of these things can make you an excellent storyteller. The wealth is out there.
And when you know that we were chosen for that reason, because like you gotta think they were strategic. When they snatched us up, they were strategic. When they came and they took us, we weren't a people who were not knowledgeable. We knew the land so well. We knew how to cultivate indigo and cotton and rice in our homes, and they came and saw our abundance. They were attracted to our abundance. Understand? They were attracted to our power, our nature, and they wanted to know, how do you know that? Who taught you that? Where do you learn that? Oh, you just learned from practice, because y'all know that's what we do as Black folks. We will try something. Think about cooking. We will try something until we get it right. We will keep on practicing something until we get that perfect little teach of salt that we needed.
Just like grandma had
it. Just like grandma had it. And that's how we learned. So we didn't know how to teach because we didn't have recipes. We didn't have measurements. We couldn't tell them this is how you cultivate indigo and you got to wait this amount of time. Our spirit told us what to do. Our spirit guides led us on how to be prosperous and how to be abundant. And that's something, that's a connection that they didn't have. They didn't have. And that's a connection that couldn't and still can't be taught. So they took us. They took us and said, you do it over here. So when she speaks about the Holy Trinity, she's speaking about us being snatched from our land so that we can bring our holiness to this land. And
come on, break it down now. Go ahead, Queen.
So as you document these stories and you tell our stories in film, she has so much symbolism. So when she's speaking about the indigo on the hands to represent, and you would really, as you're watching the films, you gotta know. You know, it's like, that's why she keeps pushing study your history, because our history, our story is being told in everything. Our story is told in everything, especially everything coming from us. You know, there's symbolisms in everything. There's our messages are in everything. There's a lot of coded language that's being used. And in order to be able to decode, you got to have that information. You really, really got to know. Which brings us to Black is King.
Come on now. Speak on it.
There.
Yes.
It brings us there. Yes. You know, because there's so much symbolism and there's so many messages. And now that it has been out for some time, I'm sure you guys have, you know, seen the messaging and you see, I hope that you guys have seen different things with people breaking down some of the symbolisms and some of the connections back to the ethnic groups and tribes in Africa. They talk about the white painted faces connected to the Hausa people in South Africa. You know,
they did that.
I already spoke on, she had a lot of like Zulu symbolism. She had a lot of Sutu symbolism. She really represented half of South Africa.
She did.
Kenya, the Messiah in Kenya, the beating.
The Ghan people was in there. I was like, come on, B, okay.
Absolutely. So what did you think about Black is King from a spiritual perspective and from that Africana studies perspective and from that filmmaker perspective? Because my sister is dope. So you see, we got to ask her about her Holy Trinity, okay?
Man, like.
From film, Africana studies, and from spirituality. What did you think of Black is King?
When I seen it, we had a part, my best friend, Alex, who is another filmmaker who he just came back from LA. So he works for a company here in Atlanta. And so I didn't even know they was having a Black is King party. I just thought we was having fuck COVID party and we're gonna get together. I didn't even know what was going on. I just showed up because I was like, yeah, I'm with it. And so they had food and all this stuff. And I was like, okay, what are we doing? Like, and so we were like, we're watching Black is King. I was like, oh, I'm in the right place. Because I didn't subscribe to Disney at the time. And so the first scene when we seen it, he looked at me and I looked at him and we said, what the fuck are we doing with our life? What are we doing? We're not doing it right. I just forget everything. Forget everything we done. I felt so good after watching it. In the time of turmoil where our people are being like laid out, dying with white supremacy and racism in our face, and they make no mistakes with the unfortunate, I mean, going back to Emmett Till, going back to our ancestors, Sandra Bland, I mean, Amadou Diallo, I mean, it just the list goes on. I am very appreciative for Beyonce taking it for the team because number one, she made it beautiful. And this was her journey. This was what she was supposed to do. And I might not necessarily have agreed with the platform of Disney because I know they have Tidal and, you know, but that's another story for another time. But it was a beautiful thing to see all those Black designers, all the tributes to the ancestors, how all the Orisha were represented. And if y'all don't know, Beyonce is a child of Oshun. If y'all don't know by now, I mean, I don't know what to tell you.
She said it.
She says that she pays homage to her mother, okay? Which has allowed her to do and move in certain places. She's, and even Jay-Z says he's a child of Shango. I believe that when they went to Cuba a couple of years ago, they probably were initiated then. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't know for certain, but my intuition tells me that that's what happened. But something, and I'm gonna say this because I'm gonna keep a little secret with y'all. My cousin said to me that she believes that Beyonce did some Oshun work on Jay-Z. I'm just gonna say that out there. I'm just gonna put that out there. Now, ladies, that might be a conversation for another time where you need to put some honey or some oying on it, but I'm just gonna put that out there.
But see, I want to get that. I want to get into that. So y'all, okay, just so y'all are aware, y'all know how before I did the 4-hour live, and I want to respect my big sister Queen's time and her energy. But we talk for hours anyway.
We do.
Please understand that we about to talk about a little bit of everything. So we touching on, we gave some background and talked about, her spiritual journey where a lot of gems were dropped on, how she came through her journey and got to where she is now. Now we about to just talk, okay, about life and present and moments, and we're gonna talk about some of everything. And Juju is a part of that. Okay, we speak on Juju. We talk about Juju. We talk about that work, that magic. Okay, that work. Okay, how you put that work down in different levels. We're gonna talk about sex magic. We're gonna talk about tantra. We're gonna talk about everything.
It's real, y'all. So it's real.
Don't feel like you gotta run from that conversation.
Oh no. Y'all come right back here, sit your butt down. We're gonna talk about this. Now, I mean, but because this is our tradition, like women have been doing things even on down to vaginal steaming. Thank you, my dear sister, who is there's a whole movement of women steaming their vagina. And I know you had something about that. I am an avid steamer. Yes. Steam your yonis, queens. It's the best thing in the world to align you.
Calendula, nettle. Now we about to give y'all a list of herbs, okay? Some herbs that you can use for your vaginal steaming, okay? We about to give y'all a list, so be prepared. Get the pens and papers ready. If somebody's gonna take notes, please put it in the comments. Vaginal steaming.
Go ahead. Also, and we'll get into that, but also there's people who are, there's a sister here, Naima, she is like certified. There are sisters out here doing work, healing wombs. And this is just a sidebar before we get back to the hoodoo, because we got to get back to the hoodoo, y'all, and the honey jars. But I am an avid belief. There's another sister, her name is Kelly, and she represents Steamy Chick. And Kelly lives in Hawaii, and she has a movement of certifying women to understand how to heal other women's wombs, whether you have issues or challenges. there are ways, and I'll make sure you definitely get in touch. There's practitioners all over the place who can give you the correct herbs. You can just do a traditional blend of yoni steam herbs, and we'll give that to you. Please make a note, Mariah, because I should have brought my notebook of stuff I had to do and remind y'all.
Okay.
But there's a list of general herbs, but if you feel like you need more health, if you feel like you have an irregular period, if you feel like you have fibroids, there are ways. Steaming will get you right. Steaming and a little adjustment of your diet and your eating lifestyle will get you back on track, you know? And so that might be a conversation for another time. And Queen Po, we will see if she can kind of go in depth, since she got the Zoom working. There are sister queens out there who are healing coochies, y'all.
Who can go in detail, yes.
And can
so I'll go live with
I'll
connect with Naima and talk about vaginal steaming specifically, and go in detail on how you can do that. But if you are considering it and it's something that you want to practice, I spoke about it before on my previous live where I think that was a live, but I know I posted that video about feminine hygiene. I'll do a follow-up one, and I'll bring Naima in, and we could talk about, solely about vaginal steaming. But real quick, some good herbs that you can use for vaginal steaming: nettle, yarrow, mugwort, motherwort, rosemary, calendula. These are good herbs. A little basil. These are good herbs that you can put together in a pot, steam it up. And you want to, if you don't have a steam pot, you can literally just put on a long dress and you sit and squat over that pot. So you can bring those herbs in a pot to a good steam where the steam is coming up. You sit and you put on a long dress and you drape your dress over the pot and you squat over that pot.
Like they do in Africa.
Yes. Absolutely. You let the steam go up in your pum pum, okay? And you just sit in there.
And it's the best thing in the world. You feel like a million bucks.
It detoxes, it cleanses. Absolutely. Detoxes, cleanses, moisturizes, tightens up those muscles. Okay. So vaginal steaming is needed and it's necessary. But going back. So we were talking about Black is King. You said you felt like Beyonce.
My cousin said that so I have an elder cousin who I talk to about everything. My cousin China in Philly. And my cousin was like, oh yeah, I believe that, Beyonce did some work on her husband. I was like, how you mean, cuz? What you mean? She said, I believe that she went to Oshun and she did some work, and that's all I'm going to say. And I was like, word? And it makes some sense to me. We haven't heard of anything since what was the last one? Lemonade. Lemonade was like a kind of spilling of the tea of some emotional feelings, but now it's like Brown Girl and like it's a different vibe now. And so if she did, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think that all women should put their desires in a honey jar. And I think, if you're going to do anything for Oshun or just commune and just listen to the river, if you take her some honey, make sure you taste it first. Make sure you taste it first before you give it to her, offer it to her. Yes, for women who are definitely interested, and you can always do that to talk to Oshun. Get some, you can get oranges, you can get honey, you can get pumpkins, mangoes, you can even get a little bit of wine, some peach wine if you want that. But these are all things, and it's too intense, any desires. And they say that, Oshun is the Orisha, the baby Orisha, who answers prayers the fastest. Money and womanness, Oshun got you, like for real. Remember my big elbow last year?
Well, hold on, pause real quick, because we're giving a lot of information. So in the chat, they're asking for some stuff to be repeated. I put the list of some of the herbs for vaginal steam. My sisters gave y'all a Juju jar. Okay, so I'm gonna get your definition of this, but she just gave y'all a Juju jar, so I hope y'all took notes on that. We'll revisit and we'll re-explain it. But so we're gonna have to take our time with certain things, because we got to make sure, because people are literally taking notes as we're saying.
I love y'all taking notes. That's right. Get this time, girls. Yes.
Get this information. Yeah. Please understand that this is sacred information. So I don't want anybody jumping head first. I don't want anybody jumping head first into these practices. And I also don't want men to watch this and be like, what the hell?
No. Oh no, this is for you too. You can make a honey jar too.
Absolutely. Anybody can go to Oshun. Anybody can go to Oshun in any Orisha. Anybody can go. So as she just said, the Juju jar is not just for women, it's for men as well. And it's not putting a root to get someone to stay. It does not necessarily have to be associated with a person, right? This is just an offering that you're putting out. So when she's giving this recipe for this Juju jar, you are taking it to the water and you are giving it as an offering to, you know, to Oshun, or any offering you're giving to any Orisha, and you are basically making a request, right? So you're asking for something, or you're putting an energy out there, and you are giving an offering of gratitude for that energy being returned unto you. So that is the Juju jar that she's giving out. Now, sis, what is your definition, or how do you define Juju?
Well, I know everybody's seen The Princess and the Frog. We're not talking about Mama. The snake was named Juju. I don't know if y'all remember. But the snake was named Juju. I feel like Juju is just kind of like classic combination of our ancestors coming together with what they had here in this space called North America, whether it was our Native American ancestors, our African ancestors, and them other ancestors that we don't speak of, but them too, with all their little pagan rituals that they had. But that's kind of taking that, like High John the Conqueror, like that was a very big deal, especially like in my grandfather's era. And I know your grandfather probably had that. High John the Conqueror is a root, but a lot of people used it for good luck. Something like pennies, like back in the day, how they had penny loafers. When I was little, and this is something my mom and I still do, when we move or come into a new environment, or even if friends or family move, we go into the house and we burn sage. We pray for good intentions and good energy to come into the house, no negative energy. And we put pennies, copper pennies, all in the corners of the house, almost like creating a vortex. Like I whether you have pennies or nickels and dimes, whatever small piece of change, but it's always usually pennies. It's something I got from my great grandmother. They put pennies all over the house to kind of create like this vortex. So in the windows, in the corners, so stuff like that.
Pennies and salt.
Yeah, yes. Oh, salt. Oh, girl, salt. Salt to keep away the haints. Yes, there are haints, you know, haints and stuff like that. From one of my
hold on, sis. Hold on. Okay, so y'all, I'm just giving out the fair warning that, like I said before, we getting into the combo now. Okay, we getting into it. So I'm seeing in the comments, you know, somebody said they feel like they are in class. Okay, so please understand, we getting into it. If you don't have pen and paper yet, please get pen and paper, because see, when we talk, this is just our regular conversation.
We just be just you know. But you can always play the video back, guys. Yes,
you can, and you can pause it. But we may be going fast, and you may feel like we're just throwing a lot of information out there. Like right now, she's talking about house cleansing and how to prepare a home and take care of a home, especially when you move into a new space. But those are cleansing rituals that you can do all the time. So when she's talking about smudging, absolutely sweeping your floors from corner to corner, putting pennies in the corners, putting salt in the corners, and see, that's sacred juju that people really wouldn't even know what you're doing. If you live in if you live with a family member, or you work in a space, you go to school in a space where people are uncomfortable with what you do and uncomfortable with spirituality, these are sacred practices. As I said, you got to study, you got to learn, because if they don't know, they won't know. They'll just think it's some pennies on the floor. They'll just think it's a little, they won't even know that that's salt in the corner. They just think you got a little dust in your corner, but they don't know that that's juju, that's magic. So when we say sacred practices, this is what we're talking about, and this is why we are saying this. Please understand. So my big sister Queen is, as we talk, we're gonna give out a lot of little gems like that, you know, a lot of little practices and rituals. So I'm gonna go back and say it again. She spoke about, you know, her mom, when they move into a new space, they still smudge it, they still smoke it out and cleanse it. They have their sage, they have their herbs, they burn them, they put the copper pennies in the corners, they put the salt in the corners. Some people will mop their floor with urine. You can use your own urine or a baby's urine to cleanse the space and purify the space and kind of lay it down as your territory and put your energy out there. Of course, you'll clean it afterwards. You can use herbs and make herb water, and you can mop your floor with the herb water and the herbs, whatever is conducive to the energy that you want to set. You can make honey water and mop your floors with honey water. If you have a lover coming over, somebody that you're trying to seduce or bring in, you cleanse your space with honey water, okay? Please understand, spirit water. If you feel like there's a negative energy in your house and you feel like something is going on, make up spirit water. You have your water, you put, depending on how much water you have, you put a few shots or a half bottle of rum. If you have a gallon of water, you want to put about a quarter bottle of rum in that water, and you'll mop out your floors with the spirit water and keep it moving, and then go over it with honey water.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So those are some things that you can do. But please, 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 like she said, you can always rewatch the video and take notes. But y'all about to get this to work. Okay. So for you, Sister Queen, you were speaking on Juju and speaking on how, you utilize Juju all throughout your life. So when you're cleansing a home, that's some of the things you do. What are some of the things that you do when you just, you may be having a little off day and you may be feeling a little anxiety? Because I know a lot of people watching right now, they have times where, they may have left out to go to work and they feeling good, but then something just vexes their spirit, as they say, and they change. What do you do?
So guys, this is my, I always tell people, you've got to take spiritual baths. You've got to do it, like, for real. Now I'm going to say this as slow as possible, but like I said, you guys can go back and rewind. And this is just small stuff. This is just stuff coming from me, stuff that I tell my loved ones to do. It's kind of surface level things, but with like a spiritual bath, you want to kind of have some good intentions, especially if you had like a crazy day. Yes, I'm on a Zoom call, Mom. Okay. Thank you. Sorry, y'all. That was my mama. So basically, you want to make sure that within a spiritual bath, you get some flowers. It doesn't even, and if you don't have flowers, go get some out in the open. Dandelion is not in season, but I don't know if you know that dandelion is a purifier, especially the tea. So every spring you see dandelions all over the place. That is because that is meant for you to take and make it as a tea and drink dandelion root tea. It cleans out the lymphatic system and so forth and so on. So dandelion root, when you get an opportunity, just look up the principle and properties of dandelion root tea and what that does. But back to the spiritual bath. You can get any type of flower. Any type of flower, white flowers. If you want to get roses or rose petals and draw your bath, get your white candle. This is meant for you to have a night. You set your intentions, turn off the phone, turn off the TV. If you have little ones, please do this after you put them to bed. If they're in the bed, you know how little people are. They like to kind of hang up and hang around. You do this when you have a quiet time in the house to yourself. And so you draw your bath. If you don't happen to have a bath, then you can do this with a shower and make some rose water and whatnot, boil it. And then you take that and then you just kind of pour it over your head and everything. You do your prayer meditation. If you have a tub, you put it in the tub, you relax, you say your prayers, you do your journaling. And what you want to do is you want to get a white nightgown or a white t-shirt, and that's what you want to sleep in. No phone, no TV. And I promise you, in the morning when day clean come, day clean is a Gullah Geechee word for new day. When day clean comes, it'll be all right. And you start again. And you might have to take like spiritual baths off. This might be one of them weeks, but if that's what you got to do, that's just some of the things you can do. And that's just like a whole wellness thing, like right there. But that and just kind of the root. Now, within the tradition, a lot of elders, and I am way due for one, it's called a rogation. A rogation is something that priests and priestesses give you in the tradition. I can't really get into that because only people who are crowned.
Once again, you guys, some things are just sacred. Some things are just sacred.
I can't give you that.
And speaking of, there are a few people who are asking specific questions, specifically about being initiated and understanding some of those sacred practices. There are a lot of people, of course, who are like looking for an Ile. They want to know how to get started, how to get initiated. So overall, what for people who feel the desire, they feel like their spirit is leading them to get initiated, what advice would you give them about starting that journey of finding an African traditional religion that's for them and becoming initiated into that religion?
Depending where you are, like I know I keep thinking about the young queen that's in a small town. Depending where you are, especially like I'm here in Atlanta. I'm between Atlanta, New Orleans, Miami. If I could get to Philly and New York, I would be up there. But there is something going on everywhere, especially here in Atlanta. They always have the drumming. They're always having the drumming here. Even in New Orleans, my sisters and brothers in New Orleans, they always having drummings and gatherings of the era. Oh my God, I'm about to say it wrong. The ears and the babas. It's New Orleans. Y'all know y'all gonna stumble in it. All you got to do is Sunday, if you have the chance, go to Congo Square and everything will be all right. You will catch a drumming Sunday, or it's either like the first Sunday, but just going to Congo Square, because if you're in that area, Louisiana, or you just want to take a road trip, I always suggest going to New Orleans. New Orleans is such a sacred place for us. But my suggestion before you kind of look for going towards an Ile is that you read anything you can get your hands on. You watch 1,000 YouTube videos, you start watching documentaries, anything that you can get your hands on that explains, even the ones that you have to read, even movies. Like there's a movie that came out in 1959, came out of Brazil. It's called Black Orpheus. Even in Black Orpheus in 1959, they have a scene where one of the characters had passed on and he went to a bembe, a drumming, to contact his departed loved one. So they kind of even show you from a different African descent culture, transaction tradition, how things are done within that particular part of the world. And so you're started tracking it. But my other thing is like, go to Facebook and start typing in like Yoruba, I don't even say it like that, Yoruba or Santeria groups, so you can get in and start to learn and just kind of just be a student, just start to learn. And then you will of how to ask the right questions and ask and receive the right answers, but you've got to do your research. And I mean, it's a lifetime journey. No need to rush, my loves. Take your time. Like I said, I'm still a baby. I am not initiated, but I do have my Lekes. I do have my warriors. Your warriors is kind of like your little steps that you get when you come into the tradition, and it's usually given by godparents. I mean, anybody could just tell you, okay, it's $1,000 and not crying into Oshun. No.
That doesn't mean that you're initiated.
No. That doesn't mean you're going to learn anything. No?
Absolutely.
So you take your time with this tradition, because you might be called to voodoo. You might be called to the Africanized version of Catholicism. You don't know, but be open to enjoying this journey. Take your time, listen to your gut, listen to your Ori. It will never lead you wrong. But my thing is taking your time, studying, and then, studying and reading, you'll kind of start doing stuff like this book right here. I'm going to show this book again. Can you all see this book? Now this book is she has 500 herbs, roots, minerals, and rare zoological curiouses, and 750 traditional spells. And she has a lot of good herbs and stuff in there. I believe this is by white lady, and I think it was kind of something that was near and dear. But this information she learned from our ancestors, and she says that in the book. But it's a good book for like spells and tricks and stuff for you to use for yourself.
So the thing is, so you touched on a couple things. So a few things. When you are studying, please be mindful of what you are studying, and don't take anything as law. Don't take even the stuff that we are giving you, do not take it as law. You want to cross-reference. You want to study 1,000 things because, like I said, a lot of stuff is in coded language. A lot of things and practices are sacred, so they're coded. So you may have someone who had the benefits of coming to a ceremony as an observer, but they weren't initiated, and they went and they took back some information that they thought that they knew what was happening, but they really didn't understand. So you want to cross-reference all of your information and study multiple sources on the same topic, on the same thing. So, once again, even what we're giving you, please, please, please cross-reference everything, all of the documentaries. That's why we gave out an abundance of resources. She gave out an abundance of resources of things you can watch so you can cross-reference all this information. And then when it comes to being initiated, please do not think because you pay a lump sum of money to a person, to a baba, to an iya, or even to a house, and you get lekes, or everybody that you see with lekes is initiated. That is definitely not the case.
You can buy them off of Amazon.
You can buy lekes. People make their own lekes, okay? So that does not mean or signify that someone is initiated. There are a lot of people who think they're initiated because they paid the money and received the lekes and got their lekes consecrated. They think that means they're initiated, and they're not. So please just be mindful. When it comes to initiation, if it's meant for you, it will happen for you. With time. As I said, you put that energy out and it will come to you when you are prepared for it. But heavy is the head that wears the crown. The universe is going to test you as you progress in your spiritual journey. And if you ask for things that you are not ready for, when you are tested, you will crumble. Okay? When you are tested, you will crumble. If you try to jump head first, and I'm not saying that this is anybody, but I'm just giving this fair warning. If you try to jump head first into initiation, or you try to hurry up and do it and you are not ready, when that universe starts testing you like you are initiated, you're going to crumble because that's not what you were prepared to do. So please be mindful. When we keep saying take your time, we are saying take your time for a reason. If it's meant for you, it will come for you. Please know that if it's meant for you, it will come for you. So please, I cannot urge you enough to just study, and take your time. Someone asked, I think it was Journey's Redemption asked, can you, and I put it in the chat, they say, can you practice African traditional religion without being initiated? You can practice African spirituality without being initiated. But with African traditional religion, as we just spoke on, there are sacred practices that you will not know. So you cannot practice it because you won't know those sacred practices until you are initiated. So
you got to get your good elders. Yes.
Absolutely. You can practice spirituality without being initiated into anything. But when it comes to practicing a specific religion, you won't necessarily be able to practice that fully until you are initiated so that you can be taught a lot of those sacred practices. Okay. So another thing I wanted to ask you, when it comes to being on your journey and, creating films and being this powerful spiritual sister who does what you do and, manifest how you manifest. When it comes to meeting people and minding your circle, whether if it's a lover, whether if it's friendships, when it comes to minding your circle, how do you do that? Minding your tribe, I should say.
Like when you become a certain age, you pick your tribe based on like fundamental needs that's going to serve you and serve them. And so, I think we have a beautiful tribe. I think we have a dynamic group of women and that we commune with, that we are on this text every day talking about either some stupid stuff or some real serious stuff or real hardcore. We'd be like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. Especially like when it comes to Black women issues, it is so important to have an understanding and have a real good support system of queens and goddesses and the brothers too. You have to have good kings that are in your life, not necessarily on an intimate level, but just kings that are like your brothers. I think sisters should have good male friends in their life that are loving and supportive and respectful of women, you know what I'm saying? And so that's all your tribe, and those people, you got to pick your friends like you pick your fruit. Thank you, Erica Badu. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, those friendships are earned. I'm not really one who like, we meet you and we're best friends. No, 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 no. I don't roll like that. We've got to earn that friendship. And if it's meant to be, it will be, because there are a lot of people in life who are self-absorbed and narcissistic, and you see that and you're like, ooh, I don't know if I can deal with this. And I don't deal with crazy people. Well, I run from them because, you know, Black people, we don't talk about mental health challenges enough, but we crazy. We are loving crazy. We bad shit crazy. But look what has happened to us. And at the same time, we're still able to be loving towards each other. And speaking of loving towards each other, we don't have to sanction people who are not going to be accountable for what they have done in our lives, or even certain political figures that we see. We need to be able to hold ourselves in a high accountability with having people that are going to be in our circle who are going to be positive. How you like that, Mariah? How you like that?
So you're going to go there?
I'm trying not to.
We're going to go there.
I'm trying not to. No,
but I'm telling you, please do. Please do.
Right.
Okay. Because I just did a live when we talked about forgiveness, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just gonna be straight up, Big Sister Queen. I want you to speak on the power of cutting motherfuckers off, okay? Speak on the power of having to implement that, you know.
Let me tell you. Heard a story today from a sister. I ain't saying no names. How she just had a major loss in her life, and a very close sister friend of hers had responded in a very negative way. And so when somebody passes, especially if it's like a parent, like you're not thinking about anything but your grief and what's going on and how you're going to prepare for this process that's new in your life called grief. And so what happened is, and I'm saying this because I swear I have a story behind this. She basically asked me to give the other sister a call because she was dealing with some things. And I called and I let her know what was going on. And so the sister was very angry that I called and wondering why her friend did not call her. And so she calls her back and she's like, well, why didn't you call me? And she's just like, okay, I'm busy. I just had a loss. You know what's going on. And she's like, well, I don't understand why you didn't just call me first, because like, I thought we were like that. And
this sister had just had a loss in her life. She
like a major loss. And so the sister in frantic was like, this shit ain't even about you. How dare you even come at me? Like, why didn't I call you? So fast forward to a story today. She's, you know, they kind of had a little falling out or whatever, because she was just like, I can't deal with this right now. I'm trying to deal with this new grief that's in my life, and I need to, you know, move forward and prepare and deal with my family. And so when I talked to her today about it, she said that she basically seen this lady out when she does her shopping in the community. And she was like, oh, hey. And she was like, she said nothing. She got what she got and got the fuck on. I'm saying all that to say is that in your life, when you come and level up, no fakery, no fuckery allowed. You have no time for people who are going to be faking your life. But you do have time for people who know how to rescue you. To take the step further, the sister initially was going to bring food to her house, but did not bring the food because she got an attitude with her for her not calling her about the loss in her family. So she decided, because of whatever was going on with her, that she wasn't going to bring the food. Now, I'm sure y'all like, that's kind of cold-blooded, because if that's your sister, don't nothing matter. If somebody call you up and be like, you know, yo, such and such just lost they peoples, give them a call, you be like, nah, I ain't going to do it because why ain't they call me? That's kind of fucked up. what I was thinking what was going to happen was she was going to be like, yo, let me call you back, sis. I got to call her right now. And then she called her sister and be like, yo, what you need? I'm on my way. What you need? I'm on my way. That's it. That's it. Nothing else
because
matters.
I think, when we talked about this privately, I learned a powerful lesson from you, dealing on friendship and just like your tribe and your circle. A couple of things. Number one, the value of a true friend, a true family member, whoever, someone who truly cares about you, they rescue you. They rescue you. And this is something you taught me. So I want you to expound upon this so you can teach the people, because I know quite a few people like myself in having a 100% transparent moment. I was raised with a very toxic definition of loyalty. My mother was big on, I don't care what's going on or whatever. If you identify someone as a friend, you are loyal to them to the death of you, no matter what's happening. But the thing that I wasn't taught is, but what is a friend? How do you identify a friend? How do you identify someone who loves you? How do you identify someone who cares about you? We're taught how to treat these people in our lives, but we're not taught how to identify that person. So I was asking my big sister Queen, I said, well, how do you identify a friend? And she said two things: someone who will rescue you. Number two, no matter what the fuck is going on. I don't care what problem y'all are having. I don't care what issue y'all are having within your friendship. If you are going through something, they are there, especially in the example that she just gave. And I went through a similar situation where I lost a close family member of mine. He passed away. And I was there while he was, transitioning, and while he was sick and towards the end and stuff. And then I was there when he transitioned and planned his funeral and everything. And the two people who were closest physically in proximity to me did not rescue me when I needed them. So she taught me that true friends, true lovers, true family members will rescue you no matter what's going on between y'all. They're gonna rescue you. And then another thing she taught me is the power of, you really shouldn't even have to ask. If your sister, your brother, your friend, your cousin, somebody that you love and cares about, is grieving, you found out they just had a loss, you drop everything and you go. That is how you identify someone who cares about you. So please, Sister Queen, expound on the art of rescuing someone and how to open yourself up to receive being rescued.
Okay, yes. Because we talked about that for a long time that day.
We did.
It is like imperative, sisters, this is for you. Brothers, this is for you too, but especially for sisters. And this is something I kind of had to like ask myself this, like, yo, let me make sure I'm speaking my own truth. If you dealing with a man, right? If you dealing with a man, like if you're not married, even if you are married, if you dealing with a man where something has taken place and you about to lose your fucking mind, and you outside, it's 3:00 in the morning, if you can't even call this person to come get you because you losing your mind, you don't need them in your life. If they can't, like, you call them up, I'm about to lose it. And they're like, hold on, what's going on? What you need to do? What's going on? If they're not trying to help you, and I'm not saying like it's going to happen all the time, because sometimes you have to know how to rescue yourself. And we're going to talk about that too. But if you're dealing with people, especially somebody that you have access to your physical being, your yoni, if they got access to you and you are in a tight squeeze and you can't count on them, you do not need them. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, what are they going to do for you? Especially if you're always available, if you're always there. If you come up, you need $20 till next week because you had to pay a bill and you just need some gas money. If they can't even give you no fucking gas money, no, cut them off. Cut them off. And I know it's hard, but I had to ask myself that. I was just like, well, wait a minute. Hold up. if I called this person because I needed something, would they come through for me? Would they really come through for me? Like, yo, you call and be like, yo, I need such and such. Will they come through for you? Like then, like right then when you need it. Not, well, let me think about it. You know, will they come through for you? Like something you really, really need, you know?
And
So,
have they ever have
yeah,
they shown a pattern or consistency of that? Because they may have done it one time, and
yeah,
they will hold that time for forever. But on a
right.
multitude of occasions when you have needed them, have they shown a pattern, trust the patterns? As I referenced in the forgiveness live, when someone shows you who they are, believe them. Shout out to Mama Maya
Mm-hmm.
Angelou.
Mm-hmm.
Rest in power to that beautiful sister, because she
Mm-hmm.
left us with that profound information. When someone shows you, not tells you, but shows you who they are, believe them
Mm-hmm.
and look for the
Right.
patterns in people. Trust those patterns. So if they shown a pattern of not showing up for you,
Right.
then they ain't rescuing you.
No, they're not rescuing you, because when you think about it, and sometimes you might need somebody to just come get a real nigga. I'm struggling here.
Absolutely.
I'm losing. I just need somebody to help me right now. And that's not always the case in your life. I mean, it's not like the boy who cried wolf, you know what I'm saying? But if you don't have people in your circle who like you're emotional and you just need somebody to talk to, if you can't call on people like that, you got to do an assessment. You know what I'm saying? You really do. If you can't call somebody, especially that dude that you're dealing with, and he over your house eating up your food all the time, you taking care of him, you can't call him and be like, yo, I need $20 to get to work. He'd be like, well, I ain't got it. you $20? Come on, that's like no money nowadays. You need to really
Or
assess.
even if you can't pray for me, if you can't intercede on my behalf, if I'm ever at a low vibrational point and you
Yes.
can't intercede on my behalf, if I'm ever going through it and I call you and you ain't got a good prayer in the bucket for me,
Yeah, if you
what are
can't
we
lift
doing
my
here?
spirits, right? And I
Absolutely.
can't do that for you. Like this is reciprocating. Like you only want people in your life who going like reciprocate that energy. Like because sometimes you be in your feelings and you just need somebody to rescue you and pull you out. Sometimes you need somebody to
Yes.
cry with you on the phone and be like, you know what? Your tears are validated. You matter. Your tears are valid. It's okay.
This is
You know what I'm
divine connection,
saying?
because I swear to you, the word validation was
Mm-hmm.
just laid on my spirit. You need
Mm-hmm.
to be validated sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you need to call someone and be able
Mm-hmm.
to vent your frustrations, and they
Mm-hmm.
say, I understand where you're coming from. That's rescuing you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
rescuing you, I don't want y'all to think that it's only somebody coming to get you or
Right.
somebody solving your problem. Sometimes it's just
Somebody
somebody
being
being on the
there.
other side of that phone and validating your
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Someone holding you accountable is also a
Mm-hmm.
form of rescuing you. So I wanted to
Mm-hmm.
ask you, Sister Queen,
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to being rescued, some
Mm-hmm.
people may not have caught that part where you brought up reciprocity.
Oh yeah.
When you
Yeah.
mentioned reciprocity, a
Yeah.
question you may want to ask yourself is, but do
Yeah.
I rescue them?
Yeah.
Am I showing a pattern of being there and being present and rescuing them? So
Right.
you got to make sure that you are putting that energy out if you are expecting
Yeah.
it back. That's number one.
Yeah.
Number two, we have to make sure that we are open to being rescued.
Oh,
What advice would you
receiving.
give someone on how to be open? Because y'all, this blew my mind. My big sister Queen gathered
Ooh,
my
girl.
soul the other day about being open to receiving. Speak on
Yeah.
it, please, sis.
Sometimes it's black women, and black men too. But I'm coming from a black woman's perspective, an African woman's perspective. Like sometimes you just so available to the whole world, your whole womb, your whole being. Everybody wants to have access to you. And so you're always ready to give, give, give. But when it's your turn, black girl, when it's your turn, black woman, are you ready to receive? Because sometimes you are given so much, you just deplete your little self. You didn't gave until your cup, like you got a drop left. And in 2 seconds, that drop gonna be, dried up. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like in the process of that, we have to have people that's able to pour water into your cup as well as, both ways. Get that pitcher of water together because we need this. And so I think a lot of times sisters is, we're trained to be these independent Black women that we don't need men. Nah, fuck that. We need y'all. Brothers, y'all need us. We need y'all. And even I remember one of our friends in our circle back, like, when she was younger, she was so hardcore. Yeah, I don't need no man. I got it. Nah, sis, let him do that. Let that brother carry them groceries. Let him open the door for you. Let him be on the other side of the street. Come on now. Let him honor you. And sometimes, like, we just be like, I mean, that
we gotta chill on that. I got it. We gotta chill on that. I got it.
We do. Receiving, and it starts with that because we do it. Like, no, let him get that door. I was talking to a beautiful sister friend of mine the other day. Beautiful. I'm going to say her name. Her name is Fatima, and she is the ultimate divine feminine goddess mother. And I stayed with her a little bit back in when I went to Georgia State for a semester. But one thing I learned about Fatima was always just this divine feminine goddess. And she said, I feel like even when I go to the store and I'm by myself, I don't feel like putting my groceries. And I say, sir, can you do this for me? Can you put these in the bag for me? We have to bring that back of like asking for help. It is okay, especially as a woman. Are you open to receiving that help from that man, from that woman, from that elder? And I'm not talking about with this obligation. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just genuine help. You know what I'm saying? And then with the loved ones that come in, because women are so available, are we opening to receiving? Now, a mistake I almost made in my relationship is not necessarily being so upfront, saying what I need, but not being extremely hardcore vocal about it. And so that could have almost made it detrimental to me for not like receiving, because it might have been kind of felt that I was cool, that I didn't need to have certain things given to me when that's not the case. And so you have to have like the gall, and you have to hold your other, your loved ones accountable, especially your children, your husbands, your wives. This is what I need from you for us to be successful. What do you need from me? And let's hold each other accountable. You know what I'm saying?
So communicating what you need, communicating what you would like.
Yeah, everybody needs to do that. We need to be open to receiving and giving towards each other. It is like, like that's a 50-50 thing. Receiving, giving, receiving, giving, and understanding also the whole thing. Thank you, Baba Baruti and Mama Ya. Here it is, guys. It's called complementary.
Oh, please plug the
complementary. Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
So complementary. Baba Baruti, he sells books about complementary behavior between couples. Basically, what it is recognizing within your divine African self what you do that is best for the relationship, and being the one to facilitate that. Whether you're, no matter what, like, your loved one, strictly about, couples, your loved one is better at paying bills, but they suck at shopping. You be the one to have, if you're better, then you do what's better for the collective. You do what's better for the unity. That's complementary. And that could go across the board, even within, like, some of your friends, like we're on the Zoom call because we're educating and we're sharing, but I am not a phone person. And, I have a long distance relationship, but I just don't like to talk on the phone. And so, my king, I'm glad that he understands that, because it'll be like 10 minutes. I'll be like, all right, so, all right, so, what you about to do? But
got a little work, you know.
What you about to do? But you know, I always like try to go the extra mile because like I just, you know, in person is different, but on the phone, I'm just not a phone person. And thank God it has not bothered him, you know, to the point where he like, I can't mess with you. You don't even to talk on the phone. But you know, you communicate the best way that you can. And then if you love that person, you'll get better to kind of have a better communication. You know what I'm saying? So if we got to be on the phone 20 minutes instead of 10, I'll do it. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just using that as a small example, but I'm just talking about.
But what you're speaking on is like the value, absolutely the value of compromise, and you know, the value of communicating your true self, true self, because you know, I was actually we were talking about, you know, how as women, and now we're diving into the topics of relationships, you guys. So as women, sometimes what we have the habit of doing is compromising our true selves in order to snag that person, to snag that man. And men do this as well, I have discovered. You know, we all compromise our true self. And we say, me and Drea, shout out to Drea, Andrea, Janelle. We were talking about how, you know, we alter our true selves to fit into relationships. You know, you say a lot of yeses, 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 as opposed to standing in your power of no. And standing in your power of no quite often is really just saying, this is who I am. You know, some things, yes, you will need to change and you will need to compromise on. But a lot of things, you know, it's just who you are. And you have to be willing to understand that the person can accept you or not, depending on if it's aligned with them. But when you get into a relationship with someone, whether it's a lover, it's a friend, or anyone, you want to make sure that you guys are aligned. Marquis had put in her Instagram story, she put a powerful dissertation almost, where she was basically saying, you know, certain things we may just not be aligned. I may just have to cut you off because that means that we are not aligned. Understand? So it's okay. You have to know the difference between compromising and knowing when you are not aligned with someone. What my big sister Queen is talking about is her and her king got to know each other. They have studied each other, and they realized that we are complements to each other and still studying, right? But they realized that we are complements to each other right now. We are connected right now. We are aligned right now. However, I do understand that things that I'm willing to compromise, like not being a phone person, I can compromise for you and with you. But some things you may not want to compromise. And one of those things to me, and you know, I want you to speak on this, Sister Queen, and tell me what you think. One of those things that you may not want to compromise is your spirituality. How do you feel about being in relationships, or even friendships? How do you feel about being in relationships and friendships, or relationships of any sort with people who are not spiritually aligned with your practices, people who think that you are evil or demonic for practicing what you practice? What do you think about that?
Girl, let me tell you. Okay. This was like a while ago. This was when I was living in South Carolina. I had met this guy. We had talked a little bit, and I decided I was going to invite him over. Well, I have my Orisha that sit at my door. My Alegua, my Ogun, my Ochasi, they sit at my door. So when you come in, you feel it. They're there. They're there. Like, hey, what's up? Who are you? So this guy came to the house, and he came and he seen all this African stuff. He could not walk past my front door. He was spooked out. He was terrified. And so he made up some lie talking about my water in the car. I said, oh, okay. All right. Well, take care. Like, and then he gets to the car and calls me. He was like, yo, I ain't trying to be funny. I mean, we could kick it, but like, I don't know. You be working roofs and stuff. I was like, you know what? It's okay. Because you wasn't supposed to be in my house anyway, Negro. You obviously had some negative intentions upon me, and that is not a compromise. So what, I'm supposed to put my Orisha up? They still there. They still there.
Absolutely.
And so I use that story because like he was not supposed to be in my space at all. Obviously, he meant harm, or he thought I was going to harm him. But when it comes to stuff like that, especially within the tradition, because you don't know how well you're being protected. You don't even realize how you're being protected. Oh, you don't realize, so it's no compromise. Of course you can deal with people who are like, oh, okay, like they might not have a clue what's going on or what it is, but if they're coming in and they're open, that you can at least have a dialogue and educate them. Even if they're not the most spiritual person, if they can even be in tune. But for me, it's not a compromise situation. Sidebar, I seen this movie, Nollywood movie, and the sister was full out Muslim, and her husband was a full out Catholic. And so they had the 99 names of Allah over here, and this giant white statue of Mother Mary. And it was cool for them. It was cool for them. They loved each other, so they didn't have to compromise. It didn't matter. She was Muslim, he was Christian. It didn't matter. Their love trumped the fact that they were two different spiritual sets, because they came together, they had children, but the community around them was outraged. And so for them, their love was, and this is a movie I saw, but I'm just using this as an example. Their love was the ultimate winner. That's just God, divine intervention. It didn't matter what their religion was, because they were spiritual people, and it just worked.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. And so you don't have, if people love you, they might not understand, but you don't have to compromise. Like, it doesn't have to be one way. The children are supposed to learn every way. Like, everybody's seen The Life of Pi. Pi was Muslim. He was Christian. He was something else too, right?
A little bit of everything. He was Hindu, I believe.
He was Hindu, well. And it worked for him. Like, he was praying. He was interchanging. It worked for him in the most beautiful way, and saved his life in the most beautiful way of remembering all these things that had helped him. So it's interchangeable. And if somebody can deal with that, it's a beautiful thing, because you will learn from each other and you'll apply it to your lives. Yeah.
So I wanna we just gonna dive head first in, because it ain't even no need to, transition or segue. Even though we kind of there. But speaking of the topic of love and juju and magic and all of that stuff, in my last live, I felt like I was, on a banana pill. Oh. Somehow I just slipped up and fell into the conversation of sex magic. Okay. Oh. I don't know how I got there. I don't know what led me there. Shit. But I just slipped up and fell into this conversation of sex magic, and quite a few people were curious. Okay. And I told them that I would go live, and I told them I actually wanted to bring on my big sister Queen to talk about sex magic, because I know that you are a practitioner. Yeah.
So you know who else? D Amber. Shout out to D. D Amber.
D gonna be on here.
D is the ultimate witch about life. She's the ultimate little chocolate witch about, like.
I don't know if they're ready for D though. I don't know.
Yeah. She's advanced level. That's a
maybe
whole.
That might be a wellness community exclusive.
Yeah, you might have
D. I don't know if y'all ready.
We keeping it PG. That thing.
Okay. Woo. When it comes to sex magic, first off, what is sex magic to you? And can you just just speak on it? Speak on sex magic.
Man, that's so much to say. I will say that there was this guy who, I can't believe I'm about to tell this. Funny, all these stuff I thought to get peeled back. That was his brother who I used to deal with back in undergrad. And I wasn't in a solid relationship, so I was dating. I wasn't out there hoeing, I'm just saying. But
you were doing your thing.
I was doing my thing. This brother who I was dealing with, he was in the tradition, right? And so he was real interesting, like, whoa, like real interesting. And I say that from a standpoint of, he would have sex with you, but be speaking Oshun cantations, almost.
Can you explain what cantations are? Like, you don't have to say them, but say what they are.
Well, prayers to Oshun during sex. And bruh, you trying to have me
Oshun is people who don't know.
Oshun is the goddess of love, of sexuality, of sensuality, of divine feminine energy. Like anything about her represents the aspect of like a woman preparing to bear children. She is the flirtatious, so much more. She's a sorcerer. She is like the beautiful. She holds her mirror, and even the way
divine
she dances,
femininity.
Yeah, I mean, so
sexuality, sensuality.
Yes. So I mean, so is like other orishas like Oba, Yemeya, Oya, but Oshun represents that divine feminine sexuality, and not just women go under Oshun, men too. Okay,
and Oshun men.
Oshun and Shango men, you be like, man. You be like, whoa.
So when she's saying that the brother would be speaking Oshun cantations while you guys are engaged, intimately engaged, please understand and envision
you
what she's speaking of. She's speaking of a brother physically fucking you good, but communicating with spirit while he's fucking you. Okay, we're just gonna keep it a buck. Okay, go ahead. Sis.
Yeah, and you know, and so that is one form. But like I said, he was in the tradition, so you'd be like, yo, don't, hey, hold up, wait a minute, you gonna have me out here like addicted, like I'm some crack person or something. The other thing, ladies, is having sex when your period is on. Okay. Don't you want to not get rid of a nigga? Do that, okay? He won't go nowhere. You will be like, why can't I get rid of this dude? What's wrong with me in my life? Have sex with him. He ain't going nowhere. It don't matter what you do. It don't matter where you go. He gonna find you, girl. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it unless you want him. Don't do it. Oh, do it. Where's the Amber at when I need her? Oh my gosh, she is our sister D'Amber. She don't play that,
baby.
She is like, baby, no.
But okay, so she spoke on two forms. One form of sex magic. She spoke on the example she gave is the brother speaking cantations, Oshun cantations while he's making love to you. And what that is doing essentially, as I explained, is he's communicating with spirit as you guys are having sex, right? Then she's speaking on another form of having sex. I'm about to say having a sex or the sex, but doing the do with the woman while she is menstruating, while she's on her cycle. Some people feel like it's nasty, some people feel like it's disgusting, but it also just depends on the relationship that you have with your menstrual blood. Understand that that's a powerful thing, okay? That's your menstrual blood is a powerful tool. Now, I do not advise blood magic of any sort.
You be out there like, God.
I don't advise blood magic of any sort, okay? Because please understand, especially when dealing with relationships and dealing with love and stuff like that, when somebody is on you, they are on you, all right? And you got to take all that comes with them, all right? So please understand, like I should have gave that caveat in the beginning, gave that fair warning in the beginning. When we are speaking about sex magic, please understand and be mindful of what you are asking for. With sex magic, you can manifest magical connection for that moment in time, for however much time you decide. But please understand that you are taking on everything that comes with them. All right. So let me give that caveat. Now, okay, so you spoke on one form. You spoke on two forms, which was the cantations that you can do to any Orisha while you are, whatever energy you're trying to bring in that moment. You can do that one, which is the prayers and the songs or whatever, the cantations. And then she spoke on having sex with, during your cycle, or, any type of blood magic or blood work during sex. What is another form of sex magic?
Well, I remember a couple of years ago in undergrad, I was living with an Oshun priestess. You learn a lot that way by having a roommate who's an Oshun priestess. And we made honey jars. And what had happened was Yeah, that kind of brings a lot to it. But we made Oshun honey jars, and she had a book of prayers and spells, and we had honey. We had like we used honey, and I think this was before Rihanna came out, but I have like a box of Fenty here. This is Kilowatt. Oh, this is Kilowatt. I think we used Trophy Wife or a gold substance Trophy Wife, because you
Yeah,
know,
Trophy Wife probably.
yeah, this is Kilowatt. Wait a minute. I'm like, I got to open this box because I'm like, wait a minute, Kilowatt. Hold up. Oh no, this ain't it. But right here, what we use, right? Trophy Wife. I thought that was Kilowatt. I don't know. You put the gold in there with the honey and you mix it up really good. You put your lover's name in there. You put some cinnamon in there. Look at me just telling, like, this is a freebie, y'all. You put some cinnamon.
This is free. She giving y'all some jewels. Okay, go ahead. The honey,
I'm not giving you the spells. I'm just telling you how we made this one, how I made mine. You can add whatever you want to add to it, but we just had some gold sparkly stuff, honey. You always taste the honey first, and then cinnamon, because Oshun loves cinnamon. And you mix and mix and mix. And for me, I think I either put the lover at the time, his name in the jar or under the jar, and spoke prayers on it. And that shit work, y'all. That shit work. Okay? Yeah. I think I put that shit work a little too well. Like, to this day, I ain't even with him no more. I could call him up and the dude would come. It's scary, y'all. Be mindful of them honey jars. I mean, it's all in good fun. Like you know, like it's all in good fun. But that's kind of like
no, nigga. You would not sit on. Be careful, y'all. But it's all in good fun. But no. Y'all,
so
that honey jar is real. The honey jar is real. Okay, and the thing is, you could actually turn your poom poom into a honey jar within itself. Okay, so you know, you can mix up a few things. The honey, like she said, taste the honey and everything. You put a little cinnamon and whatever. You know, you could turn your poom poom into a honey jar as well. So that's just a little bit of sex magic. You know, just a couple of gems that you could drop, but also just be mindful. How can I say this enough? Be mindful, because you're taking on that person and everything that comes with that person. Okay, so just be mindful. I'm going to give that warning again. All right, and this can work for men and women. And women, it works for. Okay, so fellas, I don't want y'all watching this like, well, that's just for the ladies. That no, this works for y'all too. Also, taking a spiritual bath and putting in your spiritual baths as well, especially before you are about to encounter your lover. Someone asked about sex magic, using sex magic to manifest. What do you think about that?
In regards to that, like this little thing right here is a little pouch. And of course, I have some things in this pouch. And not necessarily if you're trying to manifest a relationship with that person, like with the physical intimacy, but if there's something like other things that you will go to, like for that energy of Oshun, to do certain things. Of course, the elder priests and stuff, they have particular recipes for what you do for doing that. But you would definitely have to have a consultation if you want to go a little bit more thorough with somebody who has a crowned head within any tradition, because there's all kinds of things you can do. But for me, I just be doing stuff because like I'm a little witch, you know? And so in this little bag, this is the bag that I do for like my lover. So I have some herbs in here.
Oh, sis, whoa. No. You don't gotta show what's in your pouch.
Oh no, this is just like something simple. This is not like
okay.
This is public. Like this right here, this is lavender and hibiscus. And I think this is lavender and hibiscus. Lavender and hibiscus in here, and it smells really good. And I have other things in there, but of course I'm not going to show everything. But lavender, hibiscus, and cinnamon, and copper. You know, Oshun likes to wear copper bracelets, and you know, you put your stuff in a bag, and you can manifest a couple of things that way. But I'm just saying, y'all, get to work. Get your witch on. Get to work. The bottom line is this. These are just tools to support you with what you already have. You have the power to manifest just by your words. Just by your words. You speak words to life. Your words are your spells. Your words are God speaking through you. Your words and your actions, your thoughts. This thing right here is the greatest thing that will be used for manifesting what you want. The energy that you put out there, and what is energy, can never be created nor destroyed, just transformed and transitional. And so with that being said, these are just charms and things to help you. And within our world, we believe in these things. And so that's why it works. Absolutely. And when it's time for it to break apart, it's, yeah.
Someone D just put in the chat. You can use the sex magic, with masturbation as well, and that's a certified fact. I talked about that in the 4-hour live. The power of masturbation, and you can use this sex magic on yourself. Okay, it doesn't just have to be with a partner, but just the energy of love and manifesting that in your life for yourself. If you struggle with low self-esteem, you struggle with issues with confidence, you struggle with connecting with your divine feminine or your divine masculine, your sacred masculine, you struggle with connecting with that energy of compassion and empathy and really self-love and self-confidence. Sex magic through masturbation is definitely a good tool to use in order to connect with just your higher self. Understand?
Right.
And I spoke on a live about the power of sex magic. It's really aligning the physical with the mental and the spiritual. So sex magic is a powerful tool because usually when we are receiving pleasure or pain is when we are most in tune with our body. Oftentimes we are out of touch with our body. We aren't connected with our full body being unless we are experiencing extreme pain or extreme pleasure. So tap into that extreme pleasure in order to connect with your physical. Then you have your mental mantra. You are putting out what you want. You have your prayers, you have your mantras that you are saying, and then you are doing that spiritual awakening. So you're aligning the physical with the mental and the spiritual as well. And that is the power of sex magic. So it can be done with a partner, but it also can be done with solo masturbation. In regards to using it to manifest, any type of magic you are doing, you are manifesting. Even if it's a protection spell, even if it's something to, protect your energy and to get something or someone away from you, that is all manifesting. You are manifesting protection. If you are manifesting money, manifesting abundance in your life, you are manifesting peace. Any magic you are doing is manifestation. And speaking on manifestation, sis, and then we're gonna wrap up in a few. But speaking on manifestation,
we promise.
We're gonna wrap up in a minute because I know I'm looking at the time like it's after 10. We started at like 7:30, so it's been and y'all,
that's regular for us, right?
We're gonna go for about 3, 4, 5 hours. Okay, we can do this, but I don't want to hold y'all for too long. But when it's speaking on the top, and also y'all, before I move on to manifestation, if you have any questions that you want to ask my sister Queen, please put your questions in the live chat and I'll read them to her. I think I've touched on the questions that's been asked thus far, but please, while we are still on here right now, type your questions into the live chat and I'll be sure to ask her. But manifestation, right? Manifestation is a hot topic right now. It's something that a lot of people are into. When you think about manifestation and how you manifest, for someone who is new to manifestation, they don't know what it is, they don't know how to get started, they don't know where to even go to manifest, what that is, what am I supposed to do? I want to do this, I heard it's a good thing, but what am I supposed to do? What would you tell a manifestation newbie?
A manifestation newbie needs to learn a key thing. You have to put yourself in time out. What I mean by that is that you have to create a space where you can sit still and listen. And so you might have to listen to those thoughts and be able to quiet them down. The most successful people manifest when they are able to focus on themselves, and it really does work. It's a beautiful thing, especially during this time frame of like the pandemic, as I like to call it. It's so important. Well, that's what it is. It's so important that we sit still. And sometimes it's so hard. A lot of people have lost so many loved ones and have had to transition into the work thing, whether you're working full time or you lost that job. And so, but then there's been so many beautiful things that have happened. We've learned the truth about our society because we've been sitting still. I don't know if anybody has noticed that, but in the last couple of months, so many truths have been revealed to us because the world has been sitting still. I mean, heck, the ozone layer even closed. The ozone layer freaking closed because the planet wasn't receiving all its toxicity. We had to sit home and deal with each other, deal with our loved ones, deal with our husbands and wives. Parents had to deal with children. You know, you had to deal with everybody, your jobs, everything. And so the thing is, you have to learn how to sit still and start within prayer, going within. And that just simply means sitting still and listening, because those deep desire, those thoughts, and then you create your mantra from those thoughts. You know, even something else that will help. Start reciting the 42 laws of Ma'at. The 42 laws of Ma'at is something that will help you with your incantations and your manifestations. All you got to do is read that. I have not. And then you create your own affirmations. But start with the 42 laws of Ma'at. That is a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Then you can even deal with the I Ching. The I Ching can help you. These are all spiritual things. And then the 16 pillars of Ifa. You can Google that to find out what that is. If you are even stating these things, or even stating good things in abundance to you, like, you know, I will lose weight, I will become, you know, a better person with wellness. Even if something as simple like getting up and walking, if you say, I'm going to get up and walk every day because that supports my wellness. I am going to get up every day and walk because that supports my wellness. Anything that you put in here, your I am mantras and your 42 laws of Ma'at, you can do it. You just have to sit still and listen.
My aunt, somebody asked me, I said the 42 laws of what? Of my aunt. I'm about to put it in there.
MAAT. MAAT. 42 principles or the 42 laws of Ma'at. Because Ma'at is where the 10 commandments come from. I'm sure y'all knew that though, because y'all are beautiful, bright, brilliant African people. And so you knew the 10 commandments came from the law of Ma'at. They do, you know. This is your history. I mean, we ain't making it up. This is for you. This is your history. And so you reading that and you stating that, that will really, really help.
Eric, we ain't fucking with you. Okay, Eric, I'm not dealing with you because you're trying to get my sister Queen started. If y'all would have saw us before we went live, I was like, sis, I don't know. I don't know if we could talk about that.
I'm afraid to ask.
Hell, why not? They asked the question, I'm going to pose it to you, and you just answer it how you choose. Okay, he said, Eric wants to know, what do you mean by the pandemic?
Oh, my beloved.
Okay, we about to do politics.
We not going to do that right now. We're not going to talk about politics, but Eric, thank you, beloved, for your question. I appreciate you. You know, when you study history, when you study things like the Tuskegee experiment, and what that had did to African people here, when you study the Atlanta child murders, yeah, I'm going there. When you study things that have happened to us, for example, in the 1950s, there was a drug that was administered. My mom told me all about this, that they were giving to Black women for sterilization, and it worked on the women and not the men. Proven fact that this is stuff that they did. When people think that chemtrails are something that is an illusion, I mean, Prince even talked about that in one of his interviews. So many things are planned. And what I mean by a pandemic, if you look at what has happened and transferred in the last couple of months, in how certain things have happened politically. And I am not going to go there right now because, number one, we don't have time, and we don't want YouTube saying that this video is false, because we're just not going to go there. But I will tell you that America has a legacy of planning things. September 11th. America has a legacy of planning things. Tuskegee experiment. America has a legacy of planning things, hence the pandemic. Everything that you see is kind of like the Wizard of Oz. Who is that man behind that mirror pulling these strings? So I would encourage you to, like, and I know it's such a broad thing of like, do your research. People always say that, but what I really, really want you to do is just be smart, especially when it comes to us Black folks here in America. Be knowledgeable, just be aware that things happen as planned, like the picking of a president versus the voting of a president. And that is all I'll say about that. I can't see the YouTube feed or what the Queen has. I know she kind of stood up because we've been sitting for a while. But so that's kind of what I say. Get you some gopher dust, y'all. Gopher dust, protect yourself. But so that's what I mean by the pandemic. America plans a lot of things, especially when it comes to Black folks. You know, we still haven't gotten our 40 acres and a mule, and they were supposed to give us that. But when you have been stolen from a continent, anything is possible. You understand what I'm saying? They stole people from a continent, like stole you, and now they don't know what to do with you. But they know that, you know, slavery still exists. When you get locked up.
This wasn't a part of the plan. This wasn't a part of the plan. Us being free.
Us being here this long, you know.
It wasn't a part of the plan. So now it's kind of like we got to wing it and figure out how we going to control this environment. You got to remember, the government's job is to govern. The government's job is to control. So that's why when I'm speaking on, you know, and I'm pushing heavy on spirituality, because you guys, we are in a shift. We are really in a shift where spirit is leading. So you got to make sure that you are spiritually aligned and spiritually in tune, so you could be able to stand up with the warriors of the game. Understand what I'm saying? So because it's going to come to a point in time where that's all that's going to be left. Okay. So please understand that you have to become spiritually elevated and spiritually in tune, so that you can be able to understand how to govern thyself, govern thy own community, govern thy families. Understand? So please, 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 really, really, really focus on yourself, focus on your spirituality, focus on your holistic wellness, and make sure that you are not only aligned with spirit, but you are leading with spirit as you progress in your holistic wellness journey. I always tell you guys that spirit is what's supposed to lead. So you got to strengthen that alignment with your spirit, because the spirit leads the mind leads the body. A lot of us are being led by our bodies. We're being controlled by our flesh and our fleshly needs. But you will know you have gotten where you need to go, and you are still growing in your spiritual journey when you recognize that you are leading from spirit, governed from spirit, because spirit is what's really about to govern the land. Okay, it's really about to govern the land and restore order, and the order starts with healing.
Absolutely, you have to be ready.
Speaking of spirituality, Journey's Redemption said, "I'm older, in my 40s. Do you see many older women switching from religion to spirituality? Seems like the older women on this journey started young or were born into it."
Oh, no.
So do you see a lot of older women, and what advice would you give to an older sister who is moving from traditional religions into spirituality?
You know, Queen, and thank you so much for your comment, beloved. It's kind of like, it's no age really attached to it. Especially when it comes to knowledge, and especially when it comes to the history and the legacy, and the what our ancestors had deemed for us to know. There's no time limit. There's no age limit. It could be elders transitioning. I'll give you a prime example of change of thought process. W.E.B. Du Bois, who was so much like, not necessarily a Pan-Africanist when he was younger. When and transitioning later in his life, he became more of a connection with Africa. He even died in Africa. I know you've probably been to Miss Queen Po, where he actually is laid to rest. But he kind of changed his whole thought process, his whole spiritual connection with Mother Africa. And he passed away in Ghana and is buried in Ghana. He was in his, I don't know how, I'm not sure how old he was when he passed away, but he's my example of someone changing their whole spiritual perception of what their ancestors left. We're talking about beyond like Harvard, like he was the mind of the time, W.E.B. Du Bois. And he is a prime example of someone who would change and later on in life. So I would say it definitely has no age limit. It could be any age coming into the spiritual essence. So like I said, you take your time, beloved, you read, you study, and we're probably around the same age. And so you definitely know when things are right and when things are going to be progressive for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's great advice. And a lot of people, quite a few people are in the chat right now saying that, I'm older too. Someone said I'm 50. So shout out a happy birthday to Afro Caribbean. Afro Caribbean is turning 42 in 2 hours. So happy birthday. Much love. I pray you peace and prosperity, knowledge, wisdom, and even more overstanding in this new year, 42. Okay, which is a powerful number within itself.
42. You six. Come on, you equality. Come on with the numbers.
Come on now, mathematics. You was gonna say something?
No, go ahead, Queen. You got it.
Okay. But essentially, we're about to wrap up. But I really wanted to ask you one last question. Like I always say, I learned so much from you, and I
learned so much from you.
Grateful. Thank you, Queen. I'm super grateful to have you in my life because you guys are really just getting a glimpse into our regular conversations. As I said, we do
talk
this
for
hours at a time. We speak daily. We have a group chat with the Sister Circle. Shout out to our whole Sister Circle. We have a group chat with them, and we chat daily. And we just share these resources and share this information. And we found each other in college. We found each other in college, and we kind of just attracted to each other,
Right.
So a lot of people express that they feel lonely on this journey. They don't have other people that they feel like they can go to. And we spoke a little bit about this earlier. But when it comes to people finding their tribe, what advice would you give about finding your tribe?
That is like a great question. When I had first moved to Savannah from Philadelphia, I was like kind of concerned because I was like, man, I'm leaving all my sister friends behind at home in Philly. But I wound up finding the best women in the world. Like my homies, my ace, what the old folks say, your asshole buddies. And excuse me, elders, for but I wound up finding such dynamic, wonderful, amazing women. I'm telling you, y'all, that HBCU connection is family, y'all. I don't know. Shout out to all of you on the chat who went to historically Black schools, but people you go to school with become your family. It's like a rite of passage or something.
Shout out to Savannah State University.
And to find the dynamic women and develop relationships. I mean, like college days when you people, when you see them one way and then years later, they're the most dynamic person. This God is sitting here in front of you. And so you see them transition and you seeing them becoming better, you seeing them becoming more wholesome. And sometimes you see them becoming somebody else that you're not going to associate yourself with. And so when you can find sisters who you see yourself in them, that's how you know. And I think as we get older, it gets a lot difficult because I think about, elders my mom's age, the 60s and 70s and 80s crew, because a lot of times you'll have a situation where people pass on, and the sisters who could rescue you, the sisters who are not there for you, it's a challenge finding that tribe again. But it's out there, and it's ageless, like, you know, all kinds of women, because like if you are friends with some sisters who are in their 40s and 50s and even 60s, there's still something that you all can bring to the table. You know, I have some older sisters friends who are around the same age as my mom, and they're my elders, but they're also my sister friends. I adore them. I honor them. They're like the elder mothers, but they the girlfriends. You know what I'm saying? And so you have something to offer as a young person and as an elder, and that elder older thing, that's something that's serious. You know, we have elders and we have olders. You know what I'm saying?
Speak on that. Please speak on
we
that
have
too.
um we have elders and we have elders. Elders is someone who has something to share within their life. They are able to give you information that will help and aid you with stuff that happened in their life. They're able to share, well, little queen, if you do it like this, because I know for a fact, because this is how it works in the world, versus an older who does not have that information. They're out here and they might be trying to dress like they're still 22 years old when they're 61, trying to pull young dudes, and they're thinking they're on the same level of you. Those are not the ones. Those are olders, and I'm just using that as a broad example. But those people don't necessarily have much to offer you as far as information about life. We just talking about life. Elders have the information, and it is a title that is earned. You know, not with your gray hair. It's a title that's earned. When you live, you learn. And if they can't teach you those things, and they, you know, even a wino in the corner can teach you some things, you know, because winos be dropping straight science. And if you listen, you learn some stuff. But that is the difference. But you just be patient, because the tribe is out there. And maybe, Mariah, that's something that also might need to be created. Just a separate space outside of the live chat where sisters can just bare their souls. That whole sister circle thing. And that's something like, I don't know, ladies.
Well, that's for the wellness community. That's the intention of the wellness community. It's a safe space where, you know, I spoke on this in previous lives, but the wellness community is a safe space where you can have those open and honest conversations. You know, you can connect and build with sisters who and brothers who may be in your area, and y'all don't even know that y'all are in the same space. You know what I'm saying? But that's the intention of the wellness community. Patreon.com/TheQueenPo. And first off, for y'all who don't know, my real first name is Mariah. My first name is Mariah. The Queen Po is my name, but my first name is Mariah. That's how she keep calling me Mariah. I know people probably like, who is she talking about?
I'm talking about her.
I'm Mariah.
I call her baby Mariah. That's my baby. I'm a little baby sister. So I'm crazy about her. So yeah, me and Mariah. But no, we sing songs.
Go back like babies and handsome fun. Yeah, shout out to Old Dirty Bastard, OD, the whole thing, you know, Brooklyn. But the wellness community is that safe space. It's that tribe. And you know, I think I agree with everything that you're saying, sis, as far as like finding your tribe and attracting your tribe. And don't forget what we said earlier, as far as the virtual tribe. You know what I'm saying? Like you can have a virtual tribe. You know, you can find those communities, whether if it's Facebook, whether if it's YouTube, whether if it's the wellness community on Patreon, no matter what, you can find your community that's your virtual tribe and build with them. And don't be afraid to express and to show, you know, show who you are and to be open and everything, and not be concerned about judgment, you know, because, and when I say don't be concerned about judgment, it's not assuming that people won't judge you, because people will judge you, but it's knowing that their judgment of you is a reflection of who they are, and it has nothing to do with you. So if they choose to judge you, it's a reflection of who they are, and their judgment will determine their own karma. So when I say don't, you know, be open and share yourself without concern of judgment, it's without concern that their judgment is going to impact how or what you manifest. Understand? So you have the power to decide, are you willing to receive? Goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Are you willing to receive? Do you truly want to receive love? Do you truly want to receive support? They said, oh, you're Mariah. Yes, I'm Mariah. But do you truly want to receive love? Do you truly want to receive support? If you do, you have to be open to it. You know, you have to come with open hands, open to receive, open to receive love and to receive support from people, and open energy and an open heart. One last question, sis. I know I said that was going to be the last one, but one last question.
That's fine.
As you move through your journey of, you know, just being a powerful, spiritual, manifesting creator as you move through your journey. Absolutely. Fairy dust and glitter. Y'all, let me tell you, this is the glitter queen, okay? If we go somewhere, she gonna have glitter all over herself, all over you, all over everything else.
Yeah, you're getting glitter aids. No glitter aids
everywhere. Yes. As Joy always says, you'll be washing glitter out your ass for a week, okay? If you buy her, because glitter everywhere.
Yeah,
but when it comes to you as a spiritual, creative being, and just being on this journey, what are 3 things that you constantly remind yourself of as you grow and you progress? What are like your 3 rules or laws or even mantras that you abide by as you live your life?
The first thing is like giving out to God, pastor. No, I'm just playing. The first thing is like to remind myself to be kind, be sweet to myself. Cause some days you just want to beat up on yourself. And no. This is all you got. This is your temple. This is your body. And so sometimes we might have a bad day or get frustrated about the way we handle something. And so we just have to remind ourselves, and I always remind ourselves to be sweet to yourself. You know what I'm saying? Be patient, be kind, be sweet to yourself. And that way, when you're sweet to yourself, it can really, really shape how you move in the world. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, when you think about it, always stop and give thanks to the ancestors. No matter where you at, no matter what you're doing. I mean, you might be taking your walk in the wood and you see a butterfly. You observing nature and you paying attention and listening to the wind, that is the ultimate expression of paying attention to the God, to the creator, to the ancestors. Please stop and enjoy that time with nature. Even if you go sitting in your backyard, like I got a little garden back there. I'm growing tomatoes, y'all. I'm growing 4 avocados. I can't even imagine how that is, but I'm growing things. I'm giving back to nature, and it is a joy to grow something that gives you life. That's therapy. So you want to make sure that you're doing something within nature that's going to give you that therapy. So that's kind of my number 2. My number 3 is don't take things so seriously. Do not take things so seriously. Sometimes sometimes it just don't even matter. Sometimes shit is irrelevant. Sometimes shit is irrelevant. And you be like, especially like on Facebook, I remember like I had made a statement about Africa and it was 400 comments. I'm like, well, what did I say? All I said, I think Africa had really beautiful homes or something like that. And I was like, America sucks. I don't know. I might have been on one of my rants one day. I'm just talking about like just a simple statement. And it was 400 comments. I probably read a few, but after a while, it was irrelevant to me. Like, I'm not going to read all of that. My point is, sometimes in life, you got to keep it light because, if it's not like, sometimes you got to keep it light, keep it moving. Keep it light, keep it moving. So that's my 3. Keep it light, decorum on yourself, because that means you take it easy because stress is real. And stress and anxiety does kill us because we've had transgenerational stress. We've had post-traumatic slavery disorder. So we have to learn to keep it a little bit light and laugh every day, y'all. Laugh. I am a jokester, like hardcore. I will tell jokes. I will send funny stuff in the chat. It might be a little rah-rah sometimes. But we have to do that. Please laugh every day. Please protect your mind. Cut that TV off. Don't watch the news all the time. Don't read the news. Watch a cartoon. That's right. Watch a cartoon. Eat a bowl of Fruit Loops with almond milk, of course. But I mean, I'm just enjoy yourself. Laugh every day. Do the things that make you happy and treat yourself. Ladies, get yourself some flowers. Put it on your ancestor altar. Buy yourself some Fenty makeup.
Get yourself some flowers too.
Yeah, go to the dollar store and get that white candle. It's all right. Shoot, go on, get that candle. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. Get what you want. Get what you want. That's what I have. My Aunt Bert. My Aunt Bert, who's an ancestor, who's my great grandmother's sister. She used to say, "Buy what you want. This woman probably had so many hats, it probably would have made the Guinness Book of World Records. You know what I'm saying? But she used to say, get what you want, get what you want. So in life, this is it, baby. This ain't no dress rehearsal. Be kind to yourself, spend time with nature, and take it light and laugh. That's my 3 things.
Those are good. Your 3 things. That's beautiful. That is so beautiful, sis. Especially that last one where, you know, you said a lot. You said a lot with that last one, not taking things so seriously. You know, it reminds me of the Joker when he says, you know, cut a smile in the universe's face and ask why so serious. You know, because really, we have to do that sometimes. Sometimes you gotta cut a smile in your own self and ask why so serious. When we feel ourselves getting tense and we feel ourselves, you know, becoming worried, we feel anxiety kicking in, you may feel depression kicking in. You have to ask yourself, why so serious? That's the power of living in the present moment. You know, I always speak on the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Is an amazing book to read if you want to talk about or understand the power of living in the present moment and how to separate from ego and reduce anxiety and depression. Also, The Miracle of Mindfulness by a Buddhist monk who I love, and you can watch a bunch of YouTube videos from him. He's amazing, but his name is Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh. Thich Nhat Hanh. He's amazing. The Miracle of Mindfulness. And that really got me on my journey of mindfulness and being mindful with everything I do, not just yoga, not just meditation, but literally every movement in life. And also, as the big sister queen said, just laugh, y'all. Laughter is so healing. It's so powerful. You know, please understand the power of laughter. You have to mind your diet. She spoke on, you know, be careful what you watch on the TV, but really, you guys, just be conscious of what you watch and watch things with intention and purpose. Every day, spend an hour watching something that you know for sure is going to make you laugh.
Yeah, and
watch
read
whatever it is. Absolutely, watch whatever it is that you know for sure is going to make you laugh. Whatever cracks you up, whatever triggers a great memory of your life. Those are all healing tools, you know. And there's actually a laugh therapy. You can Google this. There's a laugh therapy where in India, a lot of practitioners use laughter to heal certain parts of the body and certain ailments and diseases. So these are not just things that's like, you know, this is really based in science and this is true stuff that you can use. But, you know, just really just be mindful of that and don't take things too serious. That was very powerful. And a lot of people needed to hear that. Journey's Redemption said that hit her, slapped her. You know,
come on, girl. So and also, what I was talking to you about real quick, if you can download that app where the books that read you the books. I can't believe I'm thinking about it.
Audible. Audible
books. Get mules.
Audible. You guys, you know, that's my New York side coming out. Audible. Audible. AUDIBLE.
It's through Amazon. But then any, like, you know, Toni Morrison, have Toni Morrison read to you. Come on. Have Toni Morrison read to you. Have Zora Neale Hurston books read to you, especially Mules to Men by Ruby Dee and Nazi Davis. It is so delightful. So treat yourself to stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, instead of at night watching TV or watching YouTube videos, download that audiobook and listen to the elders, and, you know, a lot of the people who read our ancestors. Listen to a book, you know, if you don't feel like reading it, or get the book and read along with it, you know. So let's get back into books. Let's get back into writing each other, sending love letters to loved ones, anywhere. That's my thing now. Like, I make these beautiful cards because I want to encourage people to write. There's something spiritual and powerful about putting pen to paper and then sending it. It's like the best thing in the world. Yeah.
So, you know, I want you to be able to, you know, share with the people how they can support you. But real quick, before we do that, I want to touch on what you just said about the power of putting pen to paper and sending information out, you know, and just sending out love and sending out that energy. All of that deals in manifestation, you guys. So when you put your energy into something, all of that is spells, and that's magic. You know, when you are putting your energy into writing someone a letter, writing someone a note, sending them a postcard, all of that is magic. When you are cooking for yourself or someone else, you're putting your energy into that. All of that is magic. So when you are cooking, you can literally speak spells into your food as you are cooking. When you are cleaning your home, you can speak spells and magic into your home while you are cleaning. So just be intentional about everything you do in your life, because all of that is energy. Now, speaking of writing, you spoke on your postcards, and for those of you who don't know, I shared earlier, but when I did that unboxing video of Sapia Kaleidoscope, this is the manifester, the creator, the curator, the founder of Sapia Kaleidoscope, who does the posters and postcards and candles and earrings and films and everything else. So
I'm a busybody,
your beautiful ancestral movement. How can they support you?
I'm on, like, I do have a website, but here's my pillow with my face. Isn't that cool? But here it is, Sapia Kaleidoscope, because I don't have any cards up here. I'm like way in the upstairs part of the house. And I'm on IG. I do have a website, but I put my stuff on IG. If you like it, send me something, send me a request, and I'll send it to you. I take cash, I take everything. I even take credit cards. I take whatever Americans take. But my stuff is all like hot pink and very vibrant colors. One thing about film school, it teaches you to practice color therapy, because within color therapy, it will kind of switch your mood. And it's really important to have that. Like, this is not some of the pieces of my art, but this is like some of this kind of examples of some of the color variations of stuff that I sell. That was a gift to me. So, I mean, I have cards, but my thing is like education through entertainment. So I have like, my newest card is it's called Censored Sister, and it's a picture of Dorothy Dandridge with a censored over her mouth and a diamond over her head. It's bright, it's vivid. And so I just got those 5x7. Oh, thank you for somebody who's following me on Sapia Kaleidoscope, because it's open. And so, it's just like really vibrant colors, but I have ancestor candles with that old school ancestor with the hand on her hip, and just all kinds of stuff to support just like beautiful education about your history. While it looks good, you can put it on your altar and send it to friends and family. Like, right, hey, I love you. I just want to put this in the mail. Something simple. Put your John Hancock on there or your John Henry Clark on there, and it's all Garvey, baby. It's all Garvey. Shout out to Marcus Garvey for the greatest African movement, and his birthday is coming up soon. And we had RBG Flag Day on the 13th. Yes, I am in the UNIA. I said it. I am RBG all day. RBG all day. You know what I'm saying? But I'm learning about Garvey, and especially Amy Garvey and what she did. And so, that's important, because that's a strong foundation to read his book and his speeches and be beautiful. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much,
So for those of y'all who just came in, or who came in a little later in the beginning, we talked about John Henry Clark. We talked about she just spoke on Marcus Garvey, Francis Cress Wilson, just a couple of people that you can, resources and people that you can research and understand their philosophies and understand their lifestyle and their thought process, and really like the foundation of who we are. They did a lot of ancestral work. They did a lot of going back and doing the work, so that all you have to do is read their work to fully understand. Of course, once again, cross-reference, but really please research these people and get this information. People want to know, hey, Scrapalicious. People want to know what your Instagram is. Can you say it again? Spell it out, both of them, because she has 2 Instagrams, so follow both.
Oh yeah, my I have my private one, and it's Origeechee, which is ORIGEECHEE, Origeechee, and then I have this one, Sapia Kaleidoscope, and you'll see this picture, me blowing a kiss, because like I said, I told you I was silly, because I like to laugh a lot. So it's me, like, see my face. And so Sapia Kaleidoscope is IG on Instagram, and Origeechee is on Instagram as well. That's my private one. But my private one, I pretty much say all kinds of stuff, but I'm always putting stuff about business and fun stuff about ancestors and whatever the word for the day, whatever, however it's spread. And I post a lot of art stuff. I am a Black art connoisseur. Like, I live for Black art. That's another thing, y'all. Invest in some Black arts. When we went to Cuba, my mommy and I was pulling out some pieces we got in Cuba last year. If they ever open up the borders to go to Cuba, go home to see your folks in Cuba, because that's home, y'all. That's little Africa. Only thing is they speak Spanish, but that's home. That's family. I've never felt so connected to a people like I had when I went to Cuba. It was like,
and also if you want to study Santeria, you're looking to study Orisha work, you know, please, Cuba is definitely, I will say Cuba is the spot that it's easily accessible because it's so in your face. When I was walking down the streets of Havana, old Havana, new Havana, I'm walking down the streets and I'm meeting elders and babas and ias and everything. They're literally, because once again, when you have that aura, when you carry that energy, you will attract your tribe. And they were coming up to me. I'm in the bar drinking mojitos and taking shots, okay? And they coming up to me and we talking, and I was able to be a part of ceremonies and, you know, certain sacred things. But Cuba is it. And Cuba is not expensive to get to either. I'm not going to say it's not expensive because I don't know, you know, expensive is relative. But I flew from New York to Cuba for $300 round trip. For $300. The further south you live, the easier it is too. But this is the Northeast to Cuba, $300 round trip. If you are trying to travel, the site that I always go to travel, I use Priceline sometimes, but it's another one. I can't believe it's escaping me right now.
I know. I remember that one. Bad. This is the travel queen right here, y'all. She need to do a whole course just on.
What's the name of the site, you guys? It's a site that I go to get all of my
flights and stuff, right?
Like, yes, I'll think about it and then put it in the description box. But you know, that's how I get like all of my cheap flights and everything, and then booking.com for like hotels, Airbnb, but certain places don't really do Airbnb in certain places. But Cuba, please, you guys, if you really want to study, you know, history and study Ori work and all of that stuff, Cuba is definitely it. Absolutely.
So it's
but I just want to say go ahead.
Oh no,
I'm
sorry. I'm sorry, sweetie.
Say it again. Say it again. It's Sapia Kaleidoscope.
_Kaleidoscope. Yeah. Sapia _Kaleidoscope. Follow me, guys. I would love to have you and love to share some of my beautiful art that's about art history and culture with you. And I was sending stuff UPS, but UPS be stealing shit, y'all. Like they stealing election votes. So I'm having to send stuff FedEx so I can get stuff there. But surprisingly, it's not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. So because I had to send a box to Florida and they misplaced my stuff and I was angry.
What?
And I think somebody took it, but like they claim they claim they dropped it off. And shout out to the U.S. Postal Service. I believe in y'all. I'm just not sending stuff to y'all till after the election is over. I got to send it FedEx to UPS. So please, guys, like just bear with people who are sending stuff to the mail. We got to spend a little bit more money because you might not get your stuff, just like you might not get your elections counted. So yeah.
Oh, so we ain't gonna. This is a conversation we was having prior before we started the live, y'all. We were talking about like, you know, Kamala Harris and voting and all of that good stuff. You know, that's a whole nother conversation. Thank y'all so much for joining. I appreciate all of y'all love. Skyscanner is the site. Skyscanner is the site to go for the cheap tickets. Skyscanner.com. Skyscanner.com. That's where I go to get all my cheap flights and just keep playing with it and refreshing it. You can actually set like little reminders or alerts, travel alerts, so that when like a ticket price drops, they'll send it to your phone or a laptop or whatever, and they'll hold that cheap price for you. So if you want to travel a year from now or whatever, literally just put your desired travel plan, your destination, and then set an alert for when the ticket drops. And that's how I got my ticket to Bali for $300 round trip to Bali, which is the other side of the world.
Insane,
$300. Cuba, $300. South Africa, I think I paid $750 round trip to South Africa. So this is all skyscanner.com is the site that I use. But thank y'all so much.
Thank you, beloved kings and queens. I love y'all. Yes. Thank you, Queen. You know I love you.
Queen. I love you endlessly and I appreciate you. And I just want to give you your flowers while you are here and present to smell them. I thank you so much just for being my sister and being a consistent presence in my life, you know, and never, ever, ever giving up on me, always pouring into me, and just really like being there, you know, just being there for me consistently. As I said, you know, we have to believe people's patterns, and you are a person in my life that's always shown me a pattern of just being a big sister queen and being a source of wisdom and knowledge and being willing to rescue me. I will never forget, and I don't mind telling this story. I'll never forget, we were at Baba's house and I had a breakthrough moment where, you know, I was bottling. I had been molested as a child. I had held it in for years as a secret for a long time. And I literally like just exploded and everything came out, all the emotions, everything I was thinking and worried about while I wasn't saying anything, everything just came out, and you were there to catch me and to hold me up and to lift me up and to support me when I had that breakthrough moment of release, and you rescued me in that moment. So I just want to say thank you endlessly for just being here, being in my life, because you don't have to. None of us are obligated.
I do. It's my duty.
And sis, I thank you so much. And I thank you for just sharing your wisdom and opening up yourself to the world, you know, and to everybody who's here on this YouTube. And so many people are saying thank you and, you know, just appreciating your energy in the chat.
Oh, I love y'all. I love my people. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for coming and spending Friday night with us. Yeah. Now go watch Coco on Disney.
Yes, Coco is a good one. Go watch Coco.
Watch Coco on
read
Disney.
whatever. Hey, you and just have a good time. Enjoy yourself and love on yourself. You know, whatever you need to do for your wellness, just do it, family. We love you. Icon the artist. I have to shout you out. Icon the artist. Y'all go follow her on Instagram. She is an amazing sister, dope poet. So influential. She is from NOLA. So she was talking about Congo Square as well. She mentioned it as well in the chat. Please follow her. I thank y'all so much for your love and for your light. And we out, y'all. Now, I'm going to try to figure out how to get off of here because this is my first time doing Zoom to live YouTube. So I'm going to try to figure out how to get off of here and still save it because I would hate for this to go away. So we're going to manifest that this is going to work out. But peace, y'all. Okay, but just be patient.
Okay. Yeah. So you don't want to hit leave.
I'm gonna click stop live stream.
Okay.